still under development, but it feels like what I call like the good kind of early access, where the game feels good. It feels like when you're playing it, it doesn't feel like there's any features missing. It seems very playable. In fact, lots of people have put in hundreds of hours into the game. It's just quite clear that the developers want to do even more with it. Terra Invicta is a modern-day grand strategy game, so we can think of it as something like Europa Universalis or Victoria or Hearts of Iron, any one of those games that we like to play, but in the modern day. Now, that's actually the entirety of what I thought the game was the first time we played it. And when I was playing the demo, I was like, okay, but, I don't really get the appeal that much. I like the historical stuff and things. It turns out that I hadn't, at the time, and people explained when we were doing it, I hadn't realized the full picture of it. Terra Invicta is by some of the same designers that were responsible for the Long War mod for XCOM, and it is a game about an alien invasion of Earth. And in fact, not just Earth, because in this game, you can go and build space stations, colonize Moon, Mars, the asteroid belt, all the planets beyond. In fact, there's an extended solar system in this game with lots of I can't remember what they're called. I guess more like dwarf planets and stuff like that out in the far reaches of space. You can build spaceships. You're going to be doing combat with aliens. You're going to be doing all this. So it's less about an Earth-based grand strategy game and more about our solar system grand strategy game, which kind of appealing. So there are 8 factions to choose from. Well, there are 8 factions in the game. There are 7 factions we can play as the human. The 8th faction are just the aliens, these enigmatic things that are suddenly starting to appear on Earth. I have tried as hard as possible to not get spoiled by anything past the early game. I don't know how the flow of the game necessarily goes long term. I don't know how much variation there is if aliens employ different strategies or whatever's going on, or if it's always kind of fixed. I have no idea. But I will go through the human factions. First of all, and this may be what we play here, La Résistance. The Resistance is the probably most core faction of the game. I'd say it probably represents the sort of maybe the de facto default core experience. Your faction want to defend Earth against the aliens. They want to boot the aliens off of Earth and, in fact, out of the solar system and preserve humanity. Very reasonable, right? It makes sense. I think it's going to have a very XCOM-y vibe, appropriately enough. And it's important to note, we are just playing a faction. Our factions will control nations, but we don't actually play as a nation necessarily, although we might get heavily invested in one or two of them as we go on. In theory, our influence is going to grow and we're going to control more and more nations and maybe start merging the nations and so on and so forth. So we got the Resistance. Now, let's compare and contrast them to Humanity First. Humanity First, again, the Resistance, protect Earth, kick the aliens out. Humanity First won't be happy until all the aliens have been exterminated, genocided, eliminated completely. If, as the Resistance, we found out that alien agents had infiltrated and were taking over control of, say, France, as the Resistance, we would want to go and root out those infiltrators, expose them, eject them, fight back against them. Humanity First would be like, we could just nuke Paris, right? That would be a reasonable response. So that's the difference. If we play as the Resistance, we won't necessarily be opposed to Humanity First, but there's certainly going to be periods of friction. Next up, we've got the Initiative. Super realistic. Initiative are rich 1%ers who don't really have a philosophical stance on the aliens. All they care about is making as much money and gaining as much power as possible as a result of the alien invasion. Just a bunch of scumbags. Probably the most realistic faction that exists in here. Then we've got 2 over here, the Servants and the Protectorate. The Servants believe that aliens are awesome, basically equivalent to gods. There's obviously no way we could ever fight them off, and why would they? They're so advanced that what we should do is embrace them, and in fact, make it easier for them to conquer the Earth. To contrast the Servants, we've got the Protectorate over here, who just think maybe if we give the aliens everything they want, they'll leave us alone. They're pushovers, right? They're the ones waving the white flag. They're not bowing down in front of the aliens, but effectively the same thing. As if we were playing as the Resistance, the servants would 100% be against our interests. The Protectorates, we would think of them as not being very helpful. More stupid, naive, misguided than actively malignant. Humanity First would be like, well, everyone in the Protectorate obviously has to die, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Look at the Academy. They're another group who don't necessarily want to oppose the alien. They think as long as we show huge technological advancements and, colonize our solar system and be all impressive, then the aliens will see us as equal. They're not going to want to dominate us or conquer us. In fact, they're just going to go and ally us, invite us into the Galactic Brotherhood. Whether or not that represents something that makes sense, I don't know, but that's their strategy. Again, as the Resistance, we would think of them as mostly misguided and naive, rather than an outright problem. Again, Humanity First would be like, let's nuke them completely off the Earth. Obviously, they are no good. And then finally, we get Project Exodus, which is quite enticing to me. Project Exodus says, you know what? Earth is doomed. Honestly, even if it wasn't for the aliens invading us, Earth is pretty messed up anyway. Our best bet is just to leave. Just get the hell out. Yeah, Project GTFO. We're just going to build a spaceship and leave. This is like the precursor to Alpha Centauri or something like that. We're just going to go, okay? Is that cool? That's fine. We're just going to leave. I think for our run, Project Exodus is quite tempting. Very, very tempting. But I also think since it's our first game, it might be a good idea to play the Resistance, which again represents that kind of really core experience of Terra Invicta. Do people have a strong opinion one way or another? Let me know in chat. The other thing we'll have to choose is whether playing the long campaign or the accelerated campaign. And as it turns out, if you customize over here, we got a bunch of different levers we can pull. The only difference between the two, you can see, is those 4 percentages go from 100% to 200%. Accelerated defaults, our research rate is doubled, but the alien progression rate is doubled. We also get double mining, double in national investment rate. So things just happen a lot faster if we go with accelerated defaults. It is supposed to be quite a long game, so maybe it's a good idea to do that. On the other hand, maybe we want the slow burn. Yeah, a lot of people are, any faction is fine so long as we can blame Canada. Bitter. Quite a few people think, I was worried. I was worried that people would be like, well, the Resistance sounds like they might be a little too vanilla. And people always want like the quirky thing, right? But a lot of people in chat do seem to think, yeah, you know what? It does actually make a lot of sense to play the Resistance for our first game. And I think I agree. Exodus is really tempting, but I'm worried that we're going to get like 20 hours into this campaign and being like, guys, I think we made a mistake. I think we just played the Resistance. So vanilla is fine, or is an underrated flavor, says MJ. There you go. And I mean, we're still going to be distinct from the other factions. This is just like how the original game was sort of maybe designed around. Default can take 50 hours to finish. Maybe accelerated is better. Yeah, some people say they spend 100 hours on a campaign. Maybe we'll go accelerated. Maybe we'll give that a try. We'll be able to see more. You know what? Maybe we'll just fail faster, and then we'll be able to start the next campaign that much sooner. And maybe that one will be full campaign or something. We'll see. We'll go with accelerated first one. I think it makes sense. Honestly, given how much I normally pause already, and this is a new game, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, maybe any acceleration is a good idea. So we're going to do that. Yeah, fail faster, exactly. That's what we're going to do. Did you win? No, but we lost really fast. Can you be Resistance still GTFO? So, as far as I know, the initial feeling for all of the factions is going to be very similar. But once the mid-game sort of starts, they're going to diverge through their own personal individual goal system and a couple... This little curly Q that's not behaving, and some unique sort of tech paths that it can take, and that's where they're going to start to feel a little different. I think what happens with Project Exodus is again, I've avoided any real mid to late game spoilers here. I suspect they're going to get a special project they can build, which is going to be their big, like, let's get the hell out of here spaceship project. And them completing that is probably how they win the game, versus the Resistance will have to, like, grind out the war. Yeah, there you go. KH says only exists as a victory option to leave the solar system. Yeah. So let's do this. We're not going to run the tutorial. I have played through the tutorial a couple times to get a vibe for things. I've played through the game, the starting section of the game a few times just to try to understand the basics of operating on Earth. I've gotten to the point where I technically did start a colony on the moon, but didn't build it or do anything with it yet. So technically, I know how to get that far. And I know that the space shit is a big part of this game. So still haven't seen much of that. But let's go ahead and start this custom campaign. Well, we didn't really customize it. We're just playing on accelerated campaign. Let me update the what game. I think we're about to get a cutscene too. Accelerated start.
We remember the day the stars answered, the day we learned we were not alone. As a familiar sun rose on an unfamiliar universe, some of us saw wondrous possibility and others existential danger. The astronomers had insisted that the bright streak in the sky was no natural phenomenon. Most of us
I think there's a slightly different cutscene for each faction too.
And crashed in a remote region, leaving only wreckage and uncertainty. In our ignorance, we fractured, taking refuge in our most primal emotions. Each of us saw what we wanted to see.
Yeah, they must. They even have a different voiceover, right?
Loves heroes.
Yeah.
Depends on them. To save us from evil, lead us through darkness. Problem is, real heroes are always ignored. What no one understands is that being shot at is easy. The hard part is convincing someone they're drowning.
Hard part is convincing someone they're drowning. Okay, that's good. Should have a special kind of comeback. Yeah, I love it. At some point, we're going to have to give them a go. I don't think it's going to feel good playing it as them, because all they care about is, like, exploiting Earth and the aliens. You know, again, we'll be playing as the mega corporation 1%ers, and I think the vibe of the initiative. But they're sure as heck going to make great villains. Okay. UFO crashes on Earth. An alien vessel has crashed down in... Oh, hey, SCAM.
Happy partner anniversary. Laughing Face. Thanks for all the years of excellent entertainment, Laughing Face.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you. An alien vessel has crashed down in the Vladivostok region in Russia. While the wreckage is unrecoverable, we suspect an alien life form escaped into the surrounding countryside. Piggy! Thank you so much for the bits. Fail fast. What is this, Quill 18? Agile software development? Okay, so I'm going to make a note. I've got a chat GPT session open to help me keep track of my notes and what I've done and what I haven't done. I'm going to try to use it as an interactive notepad, which is going to be interesting. An alien crashed in... Now, the reason I want to keep track of this, Vladivostok? Is that how I spell that? Okay. All right. The reason we want to keep track of this is because we can go and investigate the site now, but theoretically there might be an alien roaming around in that area, that sort of thing, and later on what we might want to do is send additional teams out to see if we can find more stuff in this area and perhaps like combat it, right? I know that there's like alien, like xenoflora that can start to sort of like spawn in these places, and we might have to go and like burn that stuff down or something. So we need to keep track of where the places are that we know aliens have crashed. Whether or not we investigate the crash or not itself, we still need to keep track of those things.
Greetings, Commander. I am pleased to report the Council has appointed...
I normally use, I use a draft, an email draft,
I am
but I want to test out what it's like to do notes with ChatGPT.
While most of the world is reacting with fascination at the arrival of an alien species on Earth, we represent a small group who believes the aliens' crash landing and
Voices are a bit loud. Okay.
May signify a potential threat. We intend to build an international organization capable of investigating and, if necessary, combating any danger aliens may pose.
I thought you were going to use it to write a story based on your choices. The Navy way? That's a great idea. And then I could like read it as some sort of summary video later on, right? Oh my God. I think we're going to have to do that. Oh, baby. Okay. All right, so I recommend send a counselor to investigate the crash site in the Vladivostok region as soon as possible. Other counselors may be best used in trying to gain influence in nations that may be able to contribute resources to your cause. Okay. We get our first objective here. As far as I know, this objective is the same for most, if not all, factions. Investigate the alien crash. Sounds good. If we go and click on our little flag over here, we can actually see what our objectives are. General objectives, control Earth nations, industrialize space, build the council, and our campaign objectives is currently investigate alien crash. So these will lead through, as we keep working on this, eventually these will lead to our more faction-specific objectives, which is where the real, like, individual flavor of each one of these factions comes up. So we can take a look around. This is the Earth. It may look familiar to some of you guys. Maybe not, because of course it does have a little bit of the problem that, you know, we have like really weird map distortions going on. And the big thing is, so it is kind of a real-timey game, but sort of also turn-based in a weird way, because the way it works, so it's currently the 1st of October in 2022, which of course famously is when the first aliens crashed on our planet. The way the game works is, at the start it's I think every week, and then later on it's every other week. You have to assign your agents, your counselors, to various assignments. And the game will pause for that, and then you deploy them, and then when you confirm the assignments, then the time will start to flow once more. So that's who we've got. The game by default does give you one agent in your home country automatically. It pulls your region from like your OS's country setting. So we get one agent in Canada this time, and we've got Anatoly over here, over in Ukraine. That's interesting. Now, there is a war going on. You may have heard of it. Kind of going on over here between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, it's ripped from the headlines, baby. So that's going on there. Let's take a look at our agent stats. We'll take a look at Rylan first. Okay, so agents have different attributes over here. And one of the things we really want early on is we need a couple of people with good persuasion. Now, these stats can go all the way up to 25, but your starter counselors won't have that. I think the highest I've maybe seen in a starting counselor is maybe a 9. So Rylan here, who is our Canuckian, hometown, Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Ottawa, but it's the region, so it's home region really over here. So southeastern Ontario, basically. His high stat is science. He is a scientist. He's got persuasion of 4. He's got nothing else really going on. It's a little bit sad. The other thing to note is the missions over here. Different counselors will have different missions available to them. This column here is how many of my counselors can perform this mission. So only Rylan here of my 2 can advise, can investigate alien activities, can sabotage projects, and steal projects. These 2 are based on espionage skill, which he has a 0 in. These top 2 technically don't rely on any skill. The investigate alien activity, I think, literally doesn't use a skill whatsoever. It just costs us some of our operations points, which are over here. Advise, what it lets you do, it puts them in a country, and for that session, for that week, that advisor will give a boost to the research, combat, and finance performance of the nation based on the appropriate stats. So in this case, he would give a bunch of extra research, a tiny little bit of finance from administration, and no military whatsoever. I label Rylan not a winner. It's entirely possible we might re-roll this start. Let's take a look at Anatoly over here. Okay, Anatoly at least has a high persuasion, which is great. And persuasion is used for a variety of things. The big thing that's most important, especially early on, is the control nation and public campaign missions. Control nations is how you control a nation. Public campaign is what you use to make a nation more aligned with our particular faction. And having a high number there helps you do things like control nations in addition to other things. So he's not too shabby. Let's take a look at his traits. Survivor makes it better at surviving a nuke, which I don't think is going to be very relevant early on. He's got family ties, so this is based on his homeland, so in this case, Ukraine. And he will take a massive loss of loyalty if their home region is hit with a nuclear weapon. He also has +1 persuasion and +1 security rating when he's in his home nation. So if we were planning on performing actions in Ukraine, he'd be stronger there. He's a martyr, so if he dies... all right. Counselor dies violently. Every nation in the world will receive propaganda for the counselor's faction. Okay. He's connected, able to use back channels, exert a measure of influence. So he's going to give us an influence monthly income. He is a fanatic. So he's got a +2 persuasion in nations where... I can't remember what the book icon is. Where it's 6 or less. I think this might be knowledge level. So regions that are less highly educated, I think he's more persuasive. He does have a boost to loyalty, a penalty in investigation, and more apparent. Oh, it's literacy rating. There you go. And he's undercover. Can access enemy tier 1 habs and ships, +1 espionage when being detected by other counselors. So he's a little bit sneaky. Sure. Now, Ryland is indulgent, loss averse. He's a computer scientist, which is giving us a research income. I think he might get some research income from just his science rating as well. Got a low profile. He's ethical. So he's got greater persuasion where the, I think that's income inequality is 3.5 or less. So in places that are more equal, he has more persuasion ability. He is an expert, which is going to give him influence and science income. It did give him a boost of +1 persuasion, which is the reason he's got 4, but it's still not great. He's got streetwise over here. So in his home nation, he's got a boost to security and investigation. So he's all right. We can also get some more counselors as well. In fact, we will almost certainly recruit one immediately. So this costs influence to do. We currently have 50 influence. Our monthly income is 17.8. Now, if you do play the game normally, the little numbers over here are the daily income, so the numbers would be much lower, right? This number would be divided by 30 or whatever a month we're in here. And so this would actually be 0 point something income. So if this number differs greatly from your experience from playing the game, it's just because I went into the settings and changed it to monthly. The reason I did that is because most of the stats in places like if we mouse over people and, you know, they've got an income like over here, this is his monthly influence, for example, and his monthly money. And it's always in months over here, so I kind of wanted everything to match. So here's our pool of people that we can recruit. They'll either cost 30 or 60 right now. We can't afford the 60 immediately. We could wait half-ish a month, a little bit more than half a month, and we would be able to do it because we're just short by 10. But it might be good to pick someone else up immediately. I think what we'd be looking for here is someone else with a very high persuasion, because again, that's kind of important. Now, we do have Vera Chada over here, who is from Thailand, and she does have a persuasion of 8, which isn't bad. She's insecure. -1 loyalty every time this counselor rolls a critical failure on the mission. She's got family ties in Thailand, so if it gets nuked, she'll be unhappy. Affluent, she gives us a tiny bit of money. Connected for more influence, and she's a cynic. Difficult to fool, but expresses little hope for humanity's future. +1 investigation, -3 apparent loyalty, -1 loyalty. So we don't know what her actual loyalty is. And she can't do the Inspire mission. Still, that might be fine. Oh, she can't do the Control Country mission. She can only public campaign. Huh. She can also crack down and investigate counselors, which we don't currently have, and that is based on investigation, which she's got a good number for. An insecure cynic feels like a soulmate. I think Avira Chada might be a great pick for us. She's not crazy good, but I think she might be fine. The other ones we can afford over here are Shime. I'm going to butcher all these names. It's okay, we'll rename them after. Don't worry about it. She's got kind of middling stats everywhere, which doesn't seem terribly exciting. She's got no built-in income, so probably not. We can't afford Ernie over here, so we'll just skip over him for now. Samdarshi, again, we'd like someone with high persuasion. He does have the government trait, which is very important for some of the orgs that we're going to be attaching to people later on. We'll want 1 or 2 people with government probably, and maybe 1 with criminal. Oh wow, we can't afford anyone else. I think we just go for Vera Chada early on. I don't like that she can't do the Control Nation. But we've got someone else who can do it, so that might be okay. 9 investigation in government is great after the start of game scramble. And that's the thing. We might... That was Samardashi here, right? We might pick him up as our 4th or even our 5th counselor, assuming he's still in the list. Was she 50? So that's one of the other things. If the campaign goes long enough, people will like die of old age or retire or something, is what I've heard. But that's okay. This might just be a short-term person. So I think we'll go ahead and recruit her. Done. Now let me rename my people over here. Tell you what, we'll start with you, and there's a place, customize. There we go. And then if I go into my bouton over here for the name in game, so she's going to be known as the Fang. I like that name. All right, the Fang is joining us. Then next up, instead of Ryland, we're going to have Pikmin Mega Master. Pikmin Mega Master. These are all their code names, their agent code names that we were used to refer to them. And then finally, Anatoly is going to be Sese with 3 E's at the end. Mark is complete, mark is complete, mark is complete. Good, okay. Actually, Pikmin here is our youngest at 37. Sese is 47 as well. But you know what? We might end up replacing all these counselors later on. It's fine. Okay, let's talk about what we might want to do with them. Some of our earlier goals are to take control of some nations. So let's take a look at France, for example. Or tell you what, let's take a look at Belgium. So Belgium, well, technically this Belgium, Luxembourg is this region over here. There are these 3 slots over here. What can happen is we can infiltrate these 3 sections of government to take progressively more control over the government. The slots fill from left to right. The rightmost slot represents the executive control of the country. Every nation has got a certain number of slots, and this can differ. This differs based on how big and how rich and how powerful a country is. So when we look at North Macedonia, it's a little smaller with a smaller economy. It doesn't take as much for someone to grab full control over North Macedonia. Whereas we can take a look at the biggest, most powerful country, or one of the biggest and most powerful countries, the United States over here. It is a full 6 slots. Each one of these control points will cost a certain amount of our management control point limit over here, which determines how much stuff we can manage. The United States at this point, each one of these slots would cost about 34. So 34 times 6 is, well, it's about 200, I guess, which would actually put us over our cap. So controlling the United States exclusively would put us over our current control cap all by itself. Whereas if we look at something smaller, like let's take a look at Niger over here, it's only got 1 slot, and that 1 slot costs 4. We could control most, if not all, of Africa with the same amount of control points it takes to control the United States. Or say China, which also has 6 slots, and they're actually even more expensive than the US. India's got 5 slots. Each one of them is 25. So that's actually manageable. This would be 125 to control all of India. Now, we might have mixed control, right? That's entirely possible. I could grab the first slot, and then the academy might grab the next 2 or something like that. That's possible. The executive slot can only be controlled by someone who already has 1 slot in this nation. So let's say in that case, I control the first one, the academy controls the next 2. It would be impossible for the protectorate to come in and pick up the 4th slot. They would have to somehow boot one of us off the earlier slots, gain one of those, and then do that. Yeah, best to decide early on to go to the US or EU first. I know that India's a pretty good start because they do even have some boost to go to space, although maybe not as much as I thought they did, and a few other things. We're also going to obviously need to have a little chat about Kazakhstan in a moment. And here's the thing. So I'd originally thought, well, for the memes, for the vibe of our channel, we should take control of Belgium first, and because that, just for the lulz, and then being adjacent to a country gives you a boost to trying to control another nation. So we could take over Belgium and then use that as maybe a toehold to move into France, for example. And apparently Europe is quite strong. It can very naturally, the European Union here, you can actually bring it to the next level where you actually start to merge the countries into one big mega country, which is much more efficient for the control and management of a nation, and so on and so forth. In my little starts, I did try that a couple of times. It feels like it's fairly contested over here, and I found it quite a bit easier, and thematic in other ways, for us to focus on North America. Taking control of the United States, I mean, they have all the money, they have great tech, it's a really, and lots of space potential for the start of the game, really potent that way. Lots of what they call boost, which is how we put things into space in the start of the game. So that's pretty good. Now, because they're so big and rich, it's hard for us to get a toehold in there to try to get some control. However, again, if you control adjacent nations, it gives you more and more of a boost. So why not start by taking control of my home, Canada? Feels pretty good. If we do that, we could also probably swing down and pick up Mexico without too much difficulty, and then use the pair of influence to give us a much better chance at starting to control the United States. So I kind of think that's good. And yeah, Pikmin over here is Canadian. It's because the game always starts you off with one person of your nation if you've got that option turned on, which is kind of neat. He doesn't have anything that boosts his ability to take over Canada, which is unfortunate. And he doesn't have much persuasion either. But, you know, he might still be able to help out a little, so we'll see. Oh, yeah, before we get any more, I'm going to bring down the voice volumes a little bit, because people were saying it might have been a scooch loud. So what I'll do is I'll just bring down the master volume a little bit more. And then we'll see where we're at there. Okay. You click on Denmark for me. Would like to know if it's 1 or 2 nodes. Sure. Guys, look at me. I picked out a country correctly. It is 2 nodes. Sweden's 2, Norway's 2, Finland's 2. Surprised it's not a little bit bigger than that. All right, let's take a look at Canada. Since let's say we wanted to conquer Canada, so let's take a look at the stats. There's a variety of different parameters, stats for each one of these countries. So each country has a democracy rating, where at 0, it is a full autocracy with a dictator in control. Now, there's some value in that. There's a value in going full Tropico. On the flip side, at a 10, which is its cap, it is a full, proper, idealistic democracy. Nice and fair. And there's big advantages to be on that side as well. There's differences in amount of kind of like control and unification and all these things you get on one side versus the other. Like if we compare and contrast with China, for example, you can see it's very authoritarian, down at a 2.2. Very low democracy index. So I think in practice, a lot of times you're going to want to have a country either sit as close to possible as the max or as close as possible to the bottom. Yeah, the United States is a flawed democracy. Sips tea. Canada, so we also have the unrest rating, which again ranks from 0 to 10. Currently, we're at full peaceful. United States, a little bit of internal strife. What a crazy, weird, fictional world that we're playing in here. Tech-wise, so we've got, the GDP. Canada's currently sitting at about 2 billion. Let's compare the United States. I guess that's about 2 trillion, right? That's not 1.9 billion. I think that's about 2,000 billion. But the United States economy is 10 times bigger. In fact, probably bigger than that in relations, but for game balance purposes, maybe. Military tech, Canada's at a 4.1. United States 4.5. Nukes, Canada don't have any. United States is 28. In this game, nukes are apparently, I've never seen one go off. Apparently they are insanely powerful. A single nuke will like wipe out like a full small country, just absolutely obliterate it. So this is not just like taking out part of a city. This is destroying, a whole nation with a nuke. I think it probably nukes like basically a whole region like this in one go. So even some of the countries have like 2 nukes, and they're still like incredibly important to secure for strategic and tactical reasons. If the alien-loving servants get them, if the super aggro humanity first gets them, fireworks are going to go off, and that's not great. Canada has no navy. Sure. The United States has full freedom of the seas, so they can go anywhere they want with their armies all over the place. There's also somewhere where we can find out, so the United States has 6 armies. Canada, how come these are different? Priorities, regions, counselors, relations. Oh, this doesn't have a counselors tab. Maybe it'd get a 5th tab if we had a counselor from here. Or maybe it's because we have a known counselor in this area. So I'm assuming Canada doesn't have an army at all. Anyway, let's look at the rest of the stats over here in the bottom right. So this is the development of the country. This first thing is the monthly investment points. This is how many points this nation produces that it can then invest in other things within itself. For example, funding over here. This is how much money this nation produces every single month. And then if we have control over the nation, we are going to get some of this cash. Next is monthly research, how much tech it's producing. Again, if we control this nation, we will get that tech for ourselves. Boost, this is, again, boost is a value, a resource that is used in this game for us to send stuff into space. And then finally, we've got mission control, which helps determine how much stuff in space we can control. So again, we'll compare Canada and US. So the United States has more investment points, which means it's going to be able to build the rest of its economy faster than Canada can build the rest of its economy. And Canada has 1.6 funding available. United States has 83. Canada has 87 science. And the United States 556. Canada currently has no boost. United States has 2.3, which is very high at the start of the game. But I do want to take a special time out over here to talk about Kazakhstan. So Kazakhstan, right over here, has the Baikonur Cosmodrome within its borders. Kazakhstan is not a very rich or populous nation, and yet has, I believe, the most boost available at the start of the game because of this Cosmodrome, and it makes it actually a very good candidate for early control. So in fact, what may happen, even before we conquer Canada, we might start by trying to grab Kazakhstan right away. We don't even need to necessarily hold it super mega long term. We just want to try to extract a bunch of boost from it early on. I think that actually might be the power play. It's quite common play from what I understand in Terra Invicta. It's to start by trying to take over Kazakhstan and just extract a bunch of boost. It can also develop a large amount of mission control. Where Kazakhstan? I mean, theoretically, everywhere can, right? Now, I know boost scales, the closer to the equator you are, the more efficient the boost investment is. I don't know if that's the same for mission control. Does Sweden have any boost? It does not at the start of the game, no. France has got some. Oh, so someone is asking, the Kazakhstan boost goes mostly to Russia. Well, not entirely true. What it is that Kazakhstan is part of the Eurasian Union, of which Russia is a member, and its boost, some of its boost is being sent over to the Eurasian Union. If we were to go and take control over Kazakhstan, we would start getting some amount of boost over here. In fact, I think if we controlled both nodes, I think we would get the same amount of boost. But if we get Kazakhstan out of the Eurasian Union, then all of its boost would stay internally / go to me. I don't know. So it looks to me like Kazakhstan produces 2.5 boost monthly and 0.31 goes to Eurasian Union. But I don't know, like, and I think it's going to be a similar number over here. I actually don't know what determines how much of it goes where, what this represents, or whatnot. This is the total amount, I think, it belonging to the entire Eurasian Union. Just like here, we can see Kazakhstan funding is 0.2. Or is it keeping 0.2 and sending 1.7 here? Shows the shared funding and boost granted to the nation. So I don't entirely know how to do that, but yeah. And then we get some more stats on the people, including the public opinion. So currently, Kazakhstan is basically undecided, right? Everything's at single digit, all the factions are at single digit, and then 71% of the people undecided. If we compare Canada again, which is going to be very relevant, the vast majority of people in Canada would side with the Academy to cooperate with the aliens. Freaking Canadians, always just trying to be so nice and passive. Ugh. Yeah, we'll change that. All right, so let's deploy some people. The big thing is going to be CC and the Fang to start off with over here. They both have their very high persuasion. Now, CC is the one who can public campaign, but can't actually take over a site. So with her selected, we can see all of her available actions down here. Some of them are grayed out because there's just no legal target for them at this time. For example, Crackdown is what we use to weaken someone else's control over a nation. No one's got any control over any nation, so it's currently grayed out right now. But the public campaign is up. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with Kazakhstan early on. We're going to grab that, then we're going to focus on North America. So we're going to drop her in Kazakhstan. And one of the interesting things you can do, so you can see at the country here, it's 77%. If I click on that, 77% chance of success, we can look around and look at our different chances of success in different places. So this is going to improve the public support of our faction. We can also use this pull-down menu, which is fairly conveniently sorted based on chance of success, although at the top is always going to be tiny microscopic nations that are pretty easy to influence and may not be an interesting target in the first place. What might also almost be interesting is if there would be a way to sort this based on the raw power of a nation, and then what we could do is we could sort of scroll down and see the first powerful nation where we had a decent chance of success. Otherwise, what we're doing is sort of squinting and seeing, okay, which one of these countries sounds like it might be a juicy target, as we go down the list. But in this case, yeah, I'm just going to click on Kazakhstan. That's going to be it. I can pump some money into this to increase the chance of success. What's interesting about this slider is that it tends to double in value as you go up. So 10, 20, 40, 80, 160. But the amount of success it adds is semi-consistent with every notch. So throwing a little bit of money in there is a pretty big help. Throwing a lot of money in there still helps, but how much?
Are you always against the aliens? Or can you choose your faction? Great stream as always.
Thanks, Paul. Much appreciated. And yeah, there are 7 human factions you can choose from. And really only 2 of them are actively hate on the aliens. One of the factions is the servants, which are just totally willing to bend the knee and accept that the aliens are our rightful rulers. And then there's a protectorate who are like, we'll give you everything we want. We don't technically want you to conquer us, but otherwise we'll give you everything you want. And the academy who just want to play nice with them. It's a whole thing. So I don't think I'm going to invest any money in this. We're just, or one notch. Well, currently we have negative income. So I have 200 money right now in negative income. Yeah, let's not spend any money. So we're going to confirm that.
Sway the public.
That's going to be good.
I'm here.
CC,
Standing by.
your job is going to be to attempt to control Kazakhstan, which is going to start with a 54% chance. Now, the public opinion mission, I don't know if it's clearly listed anywhere, but takes less time to do. So the Fang will complete her task first, and this should improve CC's ability to do this by a slight percentage. Again, we could spend extra influence to boost the success chance. And actually, this is a pretty big jump, and we do actually have an influence income currently. So I might be willing to throw in a couple more. Is it that what these are? These things here, is this how many days this takes? I wasn't entirely sure. I just realized, like, my head's always, no matter what, my head's going to cover something. Currently, I'm mostly just going to be covering the counselor card, which is fine. If we're talking about the counselor, I'll mostly just open up their card so we can see it there. I will note, right behind my head, there's a button to automate missions. So once you get more and more counselors, you might not want to babysit each one of them every time this comes up, so you can automate them. One time, a month fee or one-time fee. This is a one-time fee for this particular attempt. So it's going to cost me 2 influence for this week's attempt to control Kazakhstan. So his success chance should be a little higher than 72%, assuming the Fang completes her mission.
Putting our people in place.
Great. Now, Pikmin, as mentioned, doesn't have a ton of rarely impressive stats. And currently, he's only got 3 missions that are a valid target. He could try to control nation. He's only got a 25% chance in Kazakhstan. We should talk about how these chances work. So basically, we have a total number of points in favor of the mission. So this counselor's got a 5.4. He's got 4 points in persuasion. We've got a microscopic amount of popular support, 0.4 from that. And this counselor's ethical, which in this case is giving him a +1 boost to his stat. So he's counting as a 5.4. Then there's the cost of trying to do this, or the target number, which in this case is an 8, and it's based mostly on the size of the economy, which for Kazakhstan is an 8. It's not huge, but the target number is larger than our number, therefore our chance of success is lower. I believe if it matches exactly, we'd have a 50-50 shot. He wouldn't be very good. There's a chance he could do it. We could throw him in here. We could also have him go to ground if we were worried about, okay, UI, there we go. If we're worried about him being spotted, being known, because you can target other agents and vice versa. Not worried about that right now. But he can go and investigate alien activity, which right now there's just the one site in Vladivostok. Sounds great. We'll send him there. I don't think there's any chance of success or failure for something like this. There is merely an operations cost, which is one of our values over here. We have 20. We currently have no ops income, so it's going to cost us 5, but I think it's well worth it. So we'll confirm that mission. All 3 of our counselors have a job assigned to them. We can see by these icons over here. We're going to go and confirm this assignment. We will speed up at some point, but I think it's very important to this first cycle that we go and explain everything as we go. All right, the game is currently paused, but I can unpause it, and you can see the time ticking away. 1 second per second. So we just have to wait a week in real time. Okay, maybe we can speed it up a little. Oops, wrong button. We're going to go and speed up over here. Faster, 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 fastest. Vroom! There you go. There's a day. There's a second day. All right. 2.5 days in, we get another event. There is a way to level up your counselors. In fact, we're going to look at that for sure in a minute here. UN Security Council meets. The UN Security Council has met to discuss the alien arrival. Unfortunately, the hoped-for show of international unity did not materialize. What a shock. This game is so unrealistic. With China, Russia, and the United States accusing each other of hiding knowledge about the alien crash and preventing full access to the site, we have an opportunity to shape events to our advantage, even make our case directly to the nations of the world. However, with the eyes of the world on these meetings, our counselor's risk of exposure to our enemies is extremely high. We have 3 different options here. We could just remain in the shadows, reveal nothing about ourselves, stay completely undercover. It would give us 30 ops points, operation points, which is maybe good because we don't have any income for that. Option 2, we could quietly steer support to the resistance, which would give us 25 influence and 15 ops. Triggers the following FX, grants a small public opinion boost for the resistance around the world. But information about the resistance will be exposed to our enemies. Finally, we could deliver our manifesto to the world. It would gain us no ops but 50 influence, grants a public opinion boost for the resistance around the world, presumably a bigger one than quietly steering support, I assume, but grants a great deal of information about the resistance will be exposed to our enemies because we will be exposing like our operation completely. I think the vibe of this might depend very much on what faction we're playing. I kind of feel like number 2 feels good for this. I don't think we're at like full manifesto. We're the reasonable fight against the aliens faction. I think we realize we're going to work in the shadows. Again, think about how XCOM works, right? In there, people might vaguely be aware that there's this like faction fighting the aliens, but it's not public. Secrecy is very important for them. So I like this vibe. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think I like the idea of getting some ops, which does make the shadows fairly tempting, but I think we do want a little public support, especially it might help us in Kazakhstan here. Let's do that.
They are not life forms or xenosapiens. They are demons incarnate. They and the traitors who support them will face our judgment.
XCOM's not one based on Terra. Yeah, no, I think it's sort of top 2-ish. So now, each of the factions in the game have decided which option they're going to take. So Humanity First either picked a 2 or a 3 over here. Honestly, they might go for a 3. They're full manifesto. Aliens are evil, we gotta nuke the shit out of them, all those things. So as a result, we have some information about Humanity First now. We've encountered them. Excellent. Anyone else?
We believe we can join them as brothers and sisters if we only convince them we are worthy.
So the Academy, okay? They think like, if we're super awesome, the aliens will agree that, we shouldn't be conquered, instead maybe an alliance.
It has always been true that we must leave the cradle if our species is to survive.
This faction I almost played as.
Aliens are indeed hostile. The time to go is now.
They're like, all right, Earth is doomed, we're leaving. And I think this faction was already like, man, we gotta, we need to expand to other planets, we gotta leave here, we're kind of ruining Earth in the first place. And then the aliens show up and like, yep, now's the time to really push this forward. Okay, so if we go and take a look at our intel, is it this one? Yeah, so these are the factions in the game. And again, we've met Humanity First, or become more aware of Humanity First, the Academy, and Project Exodus. We even know a couple of their counselors, which is interesting. 2 of them are operating in Vladivostok. They're clearly investigating the same alien site as we are. It says unknown mission, but we can probably guess. We have a guess about their stats as well. I guess I can't click on getting their full card. Maybe you can later, I don't know. But we got some little question marks about what their stats may be over here. And then we can also go over to the resource screen. It'd be interesting to like have a mode where it just changes all of them at the same time. And we can try to get an idea about how much they're producing. So we know nothing about the initiative whatsoever. But we have some information about the others. And I mean, it's all going to be pretty samey at this point. Slightly different depending on what their counselors are, and that's about all. Okay. Something I should do is go ahead and set our science up. Hey, we got a tech screen. Top 3 techs over here. These are the real technologies. The bottom is these engineering projects. So this global research is indeed that, global. Anyone can contribute to these research projects. When they get completed, does shift clicking change all the intel tabs? Oh, hold shift. Hold on, really? Oh shit, yeah. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. That's really handy. All right, these top 3 techs, whenever they get researched, everyone gets access to this, okay? It is global. But these techs at the top generally don't do anything much by themselves. Mostly what they do is unlock engineering projects, which are then researched individually by each faction. So currently we're audience research over here. If we complete this, we will get the benefit from this, which in this case is 25 influence. So, and this happens to be a repeatable tech. There's a few, actually at the start, literally all the techs we have are just repeatable techs over here. So audience research gives us some influence, commercial research gives us some money, operations research gives us some ops. These are all resources that we're using over here. And management research, which arguably might be the most important, I'm not sure, increase our control point management. That's the number over here, which is how many countries we can control, for example. It might not be a bad idea to just do one quick little pass of audience research for some influence early, because we can use those points. I mean, we've got some income for it, but we did burn a fair amount, or we've got actually a decent amount of income for it. I want to get some more points so we can get some more counselors, so it might be okay to do that, but then I think we'll probably go to management research. Yeah, so that's the personal one for just me, and we'll get some more projects to show up in this list. Over here, these are the ones that are shared. So we are not alone. If I click on this, it doesn't do anything. All it does is unlocks a new project called Clandestine Cells that individual factions can research. Now, each one of these projects has a percentage chance that you will get this project in the list of projects that you can research. Sorry, in this list over here. So Clandestine Cells, 100% chance to get it. Although I don't think you're guaranteed to get it immediately when it completes. It might take a few ticks of the game, a few months. I don't know how quickly it happens, but yeah, it might take a little while before we get it. So you might say, since these top techs are all shared by everyone, why even bother investing in it? Well, first of all, if you are the person to invest the most in this particular tech, you do, I believe, get access to this as a project to research immediately. You also get, for things that have a lower than 100% chance, I believe you get you dramatically increases the chance that you will have this project available to yourself if you are first. The other thing is completing this lets you be the person who chooses what the next technology is that you can research over here. So let's take a look at the tech tree. Brace yourself. So this is the tech tree for the game. Oops. What the hell did I just do there? Come back! This is the tech tree for the game. So there's quite a lot of stuff, some repeatable future tech at the end over here. Except this isn't really the full tech tree. There's a button over here. This is the full tech tree. Now this, I believe, includes every project, sub-project that you can get, rather than just the top level techs. It is, it's somewhat crowded. There's a... What keeps closing this tech tree? Am I clicking in an empty area or something? I don't know what it is. Anyway, I don't think viewing the full tech tree is particularly worthwhile. I think this more filtered tech tree is much more valuable. And so we can make some plots and plans as to where we might want to pursue down here. I think what we're going to do is we are actually going to go and push for the We Are Not Alone. I can see a lot of people doing this online. That's great. So we can prioritize where we put our research, right? So if I do this, we've got one tick in each one of these, so we're splitting our research 50-50. If I do this, 75% is coming over here, 25 there. I'm actually just going to kill the audience research. We're going to put everything into We Are Not Alone here, because the Clandestine Cells gets us the ability to have a 5th counselor. And I'm going to want that as early as possible, so we can do that. Yeah, completing We Are Not Alone will eventually allow everyone to get the Clandestine cells, but we should get it right away, the ability to research it, which I think will be very useful. So we're going to do that. The alternative, yeah, so Ixel is saying that we can go Skywatch first. The thing with Skywatch, that and then Deep System Skywatch, this will lead to us being able to spot aliens in our solar system and make humanity realize that this was not an isolated event. This crash landing was an isolated event, and we can actually see like alien warships like traversing our solar system, so we know they're not here for friendly reasons. It has massive political repercussions over the world. So I think both of these are great choices to start off with. I'm going to arbitrarily choose this, get Clandestine Cells. Skywatch, I believe, is a very popular thing for some of the other factions to pursue. So I think this is going to happen fairly quickly, and I'm not as concerned about this because it doesn't actually have an associated project with it. I want this to complete this quickly so that humanity knows that we're under threat, but I don't feel like I personally have to go and pursue it super fast. So we're going to do that. Can you eliminate other factions? I don't know. I mean, we can knock them out of a lot of nations, but it's going to be difficult for us to control everywhere. We might like force them to Chad or something like that, but I don't know if you can actually just eliminate them. Okay, so we're going to go and unpause some more. We've been playing for an hour, and we've barely done anything, but sure. Yes, Ixel, I know about that, luckily, but otherwise I'm going to ask for no spoilers for like the story and play. I really want to be like shocked when stuff happens. Since it happened so early and I did play through just the very start of it, enough to like put an outpost with nothing really going on the moon, I know about that. But yeah, the Academy was like, no, it's cool, man. The aliens, we can be chill with them and make friends with them. They take a big support hit when it turns out, oh no, the aliens are here with warships. Okay. Public campaign succeeded, great. So our support here is increased by 7%. It's now at 18%. So that implies that it was at 11%, which is higher than it was when we looked at Kazakhstan. But I think our steer support boosted our Kazakhstan support already, which is good. Now, Fang is done for this week's operation phase regardless. Regardless of what I hit down here, she's not going to do anything until the next operation phase starts. But if we thought, you know what, I want you to go and boost the support a little bit more, I could tell you, let's go ahead and repeat this mission regardless. But what I'll do is I'll go and manually reassign her. There's a good chance the Fang will go back to this, but But I'll just hit continue, so game unpauses. We'll manually assign her to a role again next operating phase.
Recon complete.
Investigate alien activity mission complete. I have learned some useful information about my investigation of the UFO crashdown site in Russia. We will receive a small bonus to our xenology research going forward. Big benefit to investigating each one of these places. That's Pikmin. Great.
We have found something, Commander.
So we've completed one of our objectives for our faction here. The story objective, again, I think everyone has this first objective, which is just investigate an alien crash site. Despite heavy security, we're able to obtain some surveillance records of the crash site, as well as a small quantity of debris. We should have a project ready for research shortly. We've gained 20 influence and 20 science. Good stuff. You know what? We have so much influence. We have 69 influence. Which means we can get ourselves another counselor, which is great. Okay, our new objective is, when it becomes available, research the Alien Signatures Project. Cool. Select management team. I think we're going to get this and another very similar event to this fairly soon. We may now recruit our faction's management team. As we stand up for resistance operations, we are selecting our internal management team to help oversee our affairs. While we are gathering personnel from a variety of disciplines, at your direction, we will emphasize a particular specialty. So, lobbyists and influencers will increase our monthly influence income by 3. We actually have 40 influence income right now, so that doesn't seem very valuable. Scientists and engineers increase our research income by 15. Currently it's 43. 15, I mean, that's a pretty big boost. We will get more and more of our income from countries directly, but that's quite nice. Next, officers and operatives. This is not an income boost. It is a one-time boost of 50 ops. But right now we don't have any ops income whatsoever. We started with 20. We spent 5 just investigating a crash landing. We got some boost from the starter event, but that's about it. And I kind of agree with Majdar here that going with officers first is probably a good idea, because I've run out of ops before and it's really annoying. And then financiers gives us an income increase of 10, which right now would be huge because we're literally running a -1 right now, but hopefully we can get it from other things. I kind of like the officers and operators. I think it makes sense for maybe the resistance vibe. I don't know. I kind of like it as a play. Obviously, science always tempting, but hopefully we can get our science elsewhere. There we go. The Research Alien Signatures project has unlocked. Okay, cool. We can set as a favorite.
We're unable to establish control.
All right, we failed to get control of the nation. If we take a look at our science now and just change projects, we can see there's a little star next to this one because we just favored it as a reminder. It's cheap as heck to research. It allows us to detect alien abductions on Earth. Honestly, why don't we just go and change this real quick? And I'll just go and we'll finish it. Heck, let's just go and like immediately finish it, and then we're gonna go back to We Are Not Alone. Yeah, let's do that. So all my agents are done. We failed to get a control point in Kazakhstan. Womp womp. But our chance overall should be getting better.
Your orders.
So CC, 72% chance. Again, I'll go and spend a couple more influence here. Bring us up to 83.
We'll be running this
Again, though, I will send the Fang.
Where do you need me?
Oh, we can start doing a crackdown because there's some countries here. Argentina, Brazil by someone else. 2 people are in Brazil, and someone controls the trade unions in Germany. We could try to crack down and take them out, but that's not what we're doing. What we're going to do with the Fang here is doing a public campaign in Kazakhstan, try and improve the relations some more and get more support.
The people.
Standing by for orders.
I didn't actually select Kazakhstan. There we go. Let me do that.
We'll make our appeal.
So you got to fly back. There's a little animation of the plane over here. It doesn't actually do anything until you confirm the assignment, but I feel bad because I think I sent her to Argentina first. She got on the wrong plane. You know, she something Air Canada. I don't know. And then Pikmin really doesn't have anything to do. God, he's trash. No offense, Pikmin. Although he went from a 25% chance to a 41% chance in Kazakhstan, which is certainly getting better. Now, there he is. We talked about can you level up your agents, and you can. So there's an XP rating over here that agents will get, and then you can spend this to augment their traits over here. You can spend 20 XP per actual raw stat point, which is very useful. You can also give them traits or remove bad ones, like indulgence and loss averse are considered negative traits, so we can remove those. We don't have much right now. We could give you affluent, which gives you 1 income per month, or survivor, which makes you likely to survive nukes. Not really worth investing, I'd say, right now. Whereas CC over here has got 35 XP. Say, that's pretty good. We can give him Streetwise. We could give him National Hero, well-known and influential in his or her home nation, which for CC I believe is Ukraine. I don't think that's very useful right now, but maybe what we should do is just go ahead and boost his persuasion some more. and give it a few more ranks of that to make it easier for him to control some things. That's good. At some point, we're going to talk about these orgs. But I think our characters, a lot of them are going to get quite a lot of administration. But I think right now, we're going to do this. I'm going to give CC an extra point of persuasion, bring him from an 8 to a 9, which is good. And yeah, that's an interesting thing. Pikmin here, what we could do... Hell, hold on. There's some orgs that are valid for him. Right, because he's got some administration. Okay, we are going to take a look at this. One of the things I could do with Pikmin is ignore the fact that a lot of his base stats are kind of crap and boost his administration like crazy, and he could just be in charge of a bunch of organizations. And then he could just do the advice job with a high administration, which would boost the economy of the nation. He does have high science, which also makes him good in any advised position. So let's talk about these orgs. The administration points that this character has, in addition to boosting our, I believe it boosts, does it not boost our control over here? Yeah, Council's administration, command, and persuasion attributes all give us a little bit more control. So you get that. It also boosts the advise roll, which is kind of nice. I'm not sure what else he doesn't necessarily does, but the big thing, maybe, possibly the biggest thing, is that it gives you capacity to manage organizations. So because he's got a 3 administration, he can control 3 points worth of organizations. So the low star rating here, so Auriga Associates is 1 star, would cost us 1 administration. If we look at the Fornax Fund over here, it's 2 stars, it would cost him 2 points of his capacity. We can take a look at what these things do. So the Fornax Fund, I don't know if there's like a description for it, but counselors cannot be sociopaths. It costs us 1 monthly income, some cash over here. It's got a plus 4% welfare rating. Now, I think in this case with the Fornax Fund, and probably someone who's got more experience in the game can let me know about this, I think this is just any country where we are, if we're investing in welfare, we're getting 4% more bang for our buck. It's not specifically associated to whatever Pikmin is doing. I think it's as a faction, as a whole, globally, our welfare investment's just going to be stronger. Which doesn't help us very much right now, but it's something interesting. Reduce services over here. This actually gives him 2 more missions that he can run. Extract Counselor and Protect Target. It also gives us an ops income of 1. Which isn't much, but it's something, and gives him +1 security. So this could be quite nice for someone who's security focused and protective. I don't think it does anything for us right now, really. The ops income is something, but Auriga over here, which costs us money and influence to recruit. There we go. This gives person access to the Control Nation mission, which is a problem we have. The Fang doesn't have access to Control Nation. We would love the Fang to have the ability to be in charge of Auriga Associates over here. It also gives us an influence income and +1 persuasion and extra funding. This is great. Specifically, I'd be interested in giving this to the Fang. And she has 2 org. She could grab the Auriga right now. Boosting her persuasion and giving her the Control Nations things, which she's drastically lacking. So let's go ahead and do this. Welfare is great once you want / can afford to combat climate change. I'm sure the climate's going to be fine and not a problem, right? I'm sure that's okay. Okay, that's quite good. Oh, she can also do Al-Nitak brands, which would give us actually a huge amount of cash. It costs us 53, but it's going to pay for itself in 4 months and then some. I think it's good. Let's go and pick that up. There you go. Now, what you can do is you can unassign. These orgs currently are being run by the Fang, but what we can do is we can take these orgs, put them in our pool. We'd still own them, and then we could go and give them to one of our other counselors later on. Like, technically, I could have given... I don't think Al-Nitak was an option for whatever reason. Or maybe I was wrong. I was going to say for our scientists, but there you go. She's got a 9, and she can now start doing control missions, although I have her in Persuade this month, which I think is okay. Although in hindsight, if I'd done this first, I would have done a control with her as well. We do have enough influence to recruit someone else, so let's take a look. As established, high persuasion kind of nice, but now we do have 2 high persuasion people. So I don't know if it's as critical for us to pick another one up. I have read that it might be nice to have someone with a high command for a few like combat-oriented anti-alien stuff early on. The highest command person we have in our list right now is with a 6. We've got Zenbo over here, who's an executive. However, he doesn't actually appear to have any command-type missions available. With espionage, he could do a purge, Like, we can look at these zeros. These are things that none of our current counselors can have. What status Crackdown? I think Crackdown was it investigation? Yeah. Crackdown is investigation over here. And investigation and purge will be powerful tools for us. Now, we could wait and actually not pick up someone immediately. I think we get new people added to our pool in the halfway point in the month. Somewhere around there. Or am I getting confused with orgs? But we could wait to see if this refreshes and pick someone else. Dane, he's got a purge. Yeah, I don't know if any of these are exciting. For the control. Protect target, extract. Investigator is nice. Says a dictator for hire. He's got high investigate, high espionage, high security, no command. He's also ethical and suspicious. I think we might... These evangelists are interesting. Some of them have some really crazy stats. She's a megastar with 12 influence income, but -8 to espionage when being detected. She's really easy to spot because she's a freaking megastar. He would be our spy, investigate and espionage. The only espionage mission he can do is purge, though. But he would be our crackdown purge person. We have someone else who can do crackdown, but I don't know if we've got as much investigate. They look like they're about to deliver Eurovision jury results. Yeah. Hire Taylor Swift. I'm assuming you mean Ariane over here, the evangelist. She's apocalyptic. Believes the end of humanity is nigh. Wishes others to do so. +1 persuasion of nations to use nuclear weapons. Wow. And he has Zembo. I mean, Zembo is just like a really good position as just someone who just manages 1 billion orgs for us. He does also have access to hostile takeover, which is based on administration points, which lets us steal orgs from other people. There's also another mission that you can get that lets you steal texts from people. He's also a megastar for influence. And he's wealthy, so he's going to get some amount of money. He's demanding. Suffers -1 loyalty every time any counselor from their faction rolls a critical failure. Yeah. We just take, Bobby. What would he do for us early on? The answer is nothing. Right now, he wouldn't do anything for us. Yeah, you do defend interest, which I don't think is based on any stats. Oh, but we don't actually have it at all. That's a good point. Okay, you know what? We will recruit him because having someone who can defend interest is going to be useful. And he can run public campaigns. He's got some persuasion. All right, cool. Sold. Done.
Standing by.
Yeah, we can purge, crackdown, control nation. Actually, we're still in our assignment phase. I could change you. 78% to control nation.
We'll bring this nation
there we go. Because there's 2 control points in Kazakhstan, so we could put 2 people on it because it might just complete both. And then we'll put him on the public campaign over in Kazakhstan. There we go.
Tell our story.
And then Pikmin, okay, which might be totally redundant, but we'll also put you on this. It's a lower chance, and it might be redundant because the other 2 might succeed.
Bringing them on.
But let's do this. I want to lock down Kazakhstan this week.
Our only hope is to understand what the aliens want with us and
I have to name him.
How to satisfy them without losing our independence.
So yeah, the Protectorate are willing to give the aliens anything they want if they just leave us alone. We've just met them. Yeah, let's name Zenbo here before I forget.
When my mission is complete.
Oh, what was this? One, humanity. The growing realization we're not the sole sapient species in the universe is causing many to see their fellow humans in new light, leading to hopes that we can overcome our capacity for strife to address the alien arrival as one people. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work out. Because, you know, that's one thing humans are really good at, is setting aside their differences. This is going to be Mr. Natrium. That is Natrium. That is this person's code name. Done. Lovely. Okay. Oh, we might have been able to give him some orgs too. So he can control a lot. No. Either can't afford it or doesn't meet the requirements. They're all grayed out. Public campaign mission success. I've increased popular support for the resistance. Thank you, Natrium. So now 24%. That's going to make the rest of our takeover here a little easier. Look at the fighting going on in the Ukraine, or in Ukraine.
We've gained significant support.
There we go. We have our first control point in Kazakhstan. Let's see if we get our second.
We're taking over.
Critical success. I don't know. I think the critical success in this case all just boosts the opinion as well, which is nice. So both control points in Kazakhstan are now controlled. So Pikmin is just going to bail on the mission because it doesn't do anything anymore. Awesome. Okay. Oh, there we go. Org Marketplace is updated with some potential targets. Yeah, I think that happens in the middle of the month over here. So we'll take a look at that if we can remember. And someone asked for an overview of the game. In the wet game, it's sort of vaguely explained. And there you go. People in chat are responding as well. Thank you very much. So yeah, we are, depending on what faction we are, we have different goals. In this case, we're playing the Resistance. So our goal is to prevent aliens from taking over the world. But first thing we got to do before that is our faction has to go and take control of some nations in the game so that we have some power and influence. There you go. So we got Kazakhstan over here. We are getting some of their funding. So we're getting equal amounts, I think, being sent to the Eurasian Union and to ourselves. And I guess we get this is the total amount I think that the Eurasian Union is getting. I think some of that is also coming to us, but this number is how much we're actually receiving. We are currently receiving all of Kazakhstan's science, which is nice. So if we mouse over our science thing over here, we can see that Action Headquarter Counselors, Nations. There you go. Oh, here in this tooltip, it gives you the daily breakdown. Very inconsistent as where there's tooltips are telling you daily versus monthly and different things. But we can see that we get one flat per day from just our faction, period. But then we're getting almost as much just from Kazakhstan by itself. That's not too shabby. We're also getting a little bit of boost from Kazakhstan, so 0.31 per month. So this is one thing I'm not quite sure of. It says it's 2.5, and 0.31 is going to Eurasian, and 0.31 is going to us. How do we get more of Kazakhstan's boost? Is it based on support? The toggle the monthly breakdown on top. Well, I'm on the monthly over here. These numbers here are the monthly numbers, but the tooltips, regardless of what I had set the top toolbar to, sort of pick and choose what they show. I mean, it looks to me like 0.31 is going to the Pact. Is Kazakhstan not producing 2.5? Because I would almost assume this would be like 1.25 comes here and 1.25 comes here. But it's only a total of 0.6. Where's the other 1.9 boost going? If I get them out of the Eurasian Union, is it just going to be me as a 0.62? Or is this how much... Hold on. Is this how much Kazakhstan is earning from the Union? So, is that it? Maybe I'm misreading what's going on here. A bunch of this, the 2.5 is being set to the Union. We're getting 0.31 back from the Union. And then all of that is being funneled from me to me. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Okay. All of their boost is part of their Union. Kazakhstan gets 0.31, and that 0.31 comes to me. That's what it is. Okay. So yeah, if we look on Russia over here, they're getting 2.5. So they're producing 0.73, which is presumably being shared with the entire Union. But because they're a huge part of the Union, they get 2.5. Okay. So our goal, one of our goals, yes, is to get Kazakhstan out of the Union for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is, I know, so that we can get the funding and the boost. Well, actually, we'd lose out on funding because most of the money in Kazakhstan is coming from the Union. But we want to get this boost, which is going to be really good. So there were two ways to get rid of to get out of here. One thing you can do is you can run a coup in a country. If you successfully coup a country, it has a bunch of political implications, but it also gets them out of their Union. The other thing we can do is we can just leave. There's a little timer over here. 180 days is what it starts at, so it's 179 now. When this goes away, we'll be able to make major political changes in the nation, including leaving our Union. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to wait 6 months, and then we're going to leave the Eurasian Union and do that, assuming that works out. We'll probably want to defend our interests in Kazakhstan to make it hard for someone to crack down or purge us or something. So that's something we can consider. Which one of our people can run a defense, if
Ready for
any?
my mission.
That might not be something we've got. Or is that one of the things...
Boarding in.
No, I don't think we can do a defend interest, can we? Is there a place... So if I click on you, right, I can see all the missions that Fang can do and how many of my counselors can do it. Is there a place to get a full list of missions and see what's available? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's take a look at the priorities at this point. So once you've got one control point, you can start to set some priorities for this. And then you have a certain amount of influence over the priority. I don't think it matters which thing... Okay, let me backtrack. Let me clear this out completely. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I was going to say, it's actually not possible to literally clear it out completely. Let's clear up as much as we can. Currently, this is the investment points in the country. This is how many points this country has to improve itself every single month. And then down here, we can set up where those investments are going to go into. So for example, currently, it's all set to spoils. Now, the actual dots don't matter. The only thing that matters is the percentage. I also don't know if it matters these two columns, what's doing what. I think the only thing that matters in the end are these percentage numbers over here. So if we did this, 100% of the investment points, everything would be going to spoils. Spoils are us ripping the resources out of this country, some of which goes to the elite. And in fact, the elites in this nation want 32% of the investment points going to them. A lot of it would come to me, giving me a bunch of money. However, it also ruins the economy of this nation. We're just ripping it apart, taking everything, taking all their money. This is actually a perfectly fine thing to do if it's a country we don't have any long-term interest in. We can just strip mine them and leave them for bear. I don't think that's what we're looking for for Kazakhstan right now. I think one of the things we might want to do currently is help to solidify our position in the nation. And my understanding is one of the ways we can do this is by boosting unity. So, let's read what it says. The Unity Priority represents a national effort to unify the people against a common foe, at the cost of some civil protection for dissenters. Investing in the Unity Priority will increase cohesion and decrease the government score. It will also shift public opinion towards factions with control points in this nation. This priority is less effective in nations with higher education levels. So, if we look here, this is our cohesion number. So boosting unity improves cohesion. It also, for whatever reason, decreases the government, well, because I think it's becoming more authoritarian, right? We're slipping towards a more authoritarian government. And Kazakhstan's currently already on the side. Again, I said, for governments, I think a lot of times we want to be either at full dictatorial 0 or full democratic 10. In this case, the government slipping downwards might be an okay thing. And yeah, cohesion going up is good for stabilizing the country, and it boosts public opinion. We already have 27% public opinion. If we keep pushing this up more and more, our control over Kazakhstan is going to be more and more solid as we convince the people that resisting the aliens is the one true answer over here. It might be a good idea to boost the opinion, the unity, like hardcore for a little while over here. And then what we're probably going to want to do is maybe invest a little bit more in boost, because it's kind of all we care about over here. The way it works, I believe, is this. The 6.9 points over here, every month, I mean, it's spread out over, each day, but every month, Kazakhstan is generating, let's call it 7 points of value. And those will get point here. Right now, it's 100% unity. Every time we fill this meter up, so every time we generate 1 point worth of unity, we get some benefit, which is, again, boost the cohesion, bring down the government by making it more authoritarian. So this is going to happen currently about 7 times per month. This is going to cycle those things. So I think we're going to start with this, just to help solidify our situation. Now, what do we want to do with our agents? We could still have them work in Kazakhstan, because there's a variety of things we can do. We can help stabilize the nation, for example. We could still decide to do public campaigns. But I think it's time to move to the great nation of Kazakhstan over here, which luckily no one has taken control of yet, which is good. They are still very pro the academy, so we're going to have to do some work to get them to shift in our favor. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to start off by sending a bunch of public campaign missions over here in Canada. Chance of success is pretty high. If we were to compare, control nation, only 28%. Yeah, let's do a big wave of public campaigns in Canada.
I will tell our story.
Yeah, you will.
Where do you need me?
CC, same with you. Public campaign over here, 84%.
I will tell our story.
Now, Pikmin, what can you do? You can advise, which would boost a country.
Acknowledged.
You could set a national policy, which we can't do right now. We have to wait 180 days for that one. You can do the control. You're kind of crap at it, though. Or you could go to ground. I think long-term, we'll probably end up using Pikmin here for some strong advise mission. If we keep boosting his science, his administration, maybe his command, he actually will make a good advisor. I think we may as well use him to do a control nation over here. Why not? We might get lucky. I'm not going to spend any influence because we might want to just stockpile a little bit. So we'll just see if we get lucky on this. Why not? Yeah, we can take a look at the orgs as well. Because we did roll some new ones. We don't have any influence, so I suspect we can't really afford any. Some of the orcs can be bought with money. But yeah, we can't actually get any right now, so we'll just have to go as is. And yeah, we can't get a 5th counselor until we get clandestine cells. Yeah, all right. Roll them bones.
Establishing control.
And then a natrium. Yeah, so you could go for control, but again, probably not worthwhile over here at 13%, but you can do the public campaign. So we're going to get everyone doing public campaigns in Canada.
We must persuade the people.
Get these Putin-loving freaks to embrace the idea of resisting the aliens.
They are here to cleanse our sick world. The aliens
this is my first playthrough ever, yeah.
Saviors, and all who oppose them.
I've tried to do as much reading as possible on guides, discussions on Reddit. I've played through the first very early game a couple of times to kind of just grope the basics, but that is it. All right, the servants. So these are the alien-loving jerk faces who are 100%, they don't just bend the knee to the aliens, they're actively helping the aliens take over the planet. So we're not friends with them. Don't one of your counselors lose loyalty with critical fail? Yeah, but I mean, I don't think the percentage chance of success increasing the chance of a critical fail. It's just if they got whatever the percentage chance of success is, they roll like a 100-sided die, and I don't know what range the critical success and critical failure is. I don't know if it's like if you roll a 5 or less or whatever. I mean, theoretically, having a counselor do more rolls increases the chance that they get a critical failure, but I don't think the difficulty of the task affects the chance. And yes, you can play as the servants as well if you want. Apparently, really easy to play as the servants. Okay, we've completed the alien signatures project, so now we can detect alien abductions.
Commander, we appear to have an alien on the loose.
Okay. Ba. That's fine. Oh yeah, study crash site determined that a motile sapient life form survived the crash down and moved with purpose into the nearby wilderness. Don. Okay, next objective, research alien origin. We need alien signatures we need to research deep space skywatch is really the next big objective that we've got. And salvaging alien technology. Okay, we have to work on a next project for our particular group here. Again, I'm probably going to want to do the management research to increase our management capacity pretty early, but I'm going to rip out a quick audience research here for a tiny injection of influence because we're burning through a fair amount right now. We've got some income, but I think I'll appreciate just a little bit more of a boost. However, I'm going to focus back on We Are Not Alone over here. We're going to try to see about pushing this forward. We'd like to be the faction that puts in the most research in this to guarantee that we can get clandestine cells as early as possible. So that's the idea. Did I have to accept or anything? Oh, no, it's archives. Okay, good. Groovy. Lovely. All right, let's tell Canada how awesome we are. Currently, our public support here is
Public opinion remains
7%. Still 7%. I'm going to throw a repeat and continue on here, so it'll automatically queue up that job next
People will
time.
come to our side.
Success, we're not 11. Repeat and continue.
People will come to our side.
There we go. Let's keep working on that. Let's push those numbers up. And Pikmin, he's going to be better than the 10% chance now.
We failed to take control.
It's actually 17% chance, but he rolled an 85. I still think we've got nothing to do with Pikmin right now, so we might do the same. Tell you what, I'll just hit continue. It'll remind me to maybe look at options for you. Okay, so it's automatically queued these 3 to do the public relations again. I can still change my mind. I can select someone and tell them to go and do something else, but, you know, theoretically save me a click.
Ready to go.
So again, go to ground, advise, national policy. We still can't afford any orgs for you, or in fact, anyone. Yeah, just let's try to control that again. And it'll be better than 17% when it gets back over there. You can also look in shifting Indian control. Yeah, I know apparently the Indian run is quite interesting. And India does have some boost to start off with as well, or like the ability to do it. I think especially they're very, very equatorial. So they're actually a great place to develop a crap ton of boost, is my understanding. There was unrest in Kazakhstan. Did we get a pop-up about that? Still, the government is becoming more authoritarian. The cohesion's going up. Strife is increasing.
Reporting in.
Increase unrest. You can't decrease unrest.
At your
Fang
service.
can decrease unrest.
Ready for my mission.
The Fang. Do we want
Ready
you
for
instead to do a
orders.
stabilize? This is based on command, which you don't have any points in. Never mind. Yeah, we kind of need someone with a high command, which we didn't really get. Military spending can reduce unrest. Welfare is another way, because welfare, what it does is it reduces income inequality. And income inequality is bad. But yeah, we could go and do a little bit of military spending. Exclamation mark here is, yeah, inequality is increasing. But yeah, we can throw in a little bit. Let's do a 75-25% split. Again, I still want to increase the cohesion and probably make the government a little more authoritarian here, but we'll do a little bit of military spending to try to combat the fact that unrest is increasing. Yeah, reduce unrest is really powerful, and it sort of sucks that we don't have someone... We only have one person who can do it, but they'd be terrible at it. So we might want to look at something else. Or another counselor. Again, there's a good chance we might end up firing some of these at some point. But for now, clandestine missions or clandestine cells will give us fifth one. Okay, we're now at 24%. Okay, we'll evaluate. We might start doing some controls now. 28% support, good.
Public opinion is
33% support, excellent. Yeah, I think we can start doing some control nation stuff in Canada now. Oh, we do have a defend interest available?
To establish control.
Okay. I thought clearly I just missed it, but we'll look again here because I do want to defend interest in Kazakhstan.
At your service.
That's go to ground. No, the brick wall with a shield in it, huh?
Reporting in.
I'm here.
Oh, there! Perfect. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have maybe it was grayed out before because we didn't have enough influence, because it does cost 20 influence. I'm gonna defend interest in Kazakhstan. This will make it much harder for our enemies to crack down our purge to remove our control over Kazakhstan. It costs 20 influence, and the duration is based on how many control points we've got. Kazakhstan's only got 2, so it should theoretically last a really long time.
Securing
Why is there a German flag? Ooh, flood in the Berlin region. There you go. Lots of different events are triggering over here. It's way too much to read. Way too much to read. Okay.
Ready.
We're now, how's the control of Canada looking? 74%. And yeah, if we spend a couple of control points, again, the cost keeps going up. I'll throw in 2 here, bring us to an 84% chance with the Fang. CC.
Standing by.
Standing by for orders.
Good.
Your
and Pikmin,
orders.
I mean... Look how much of a boost Pikmin is getting from spending the influence over here. And I'll do 2. I feel like we're getting a lot of bang for a buck by spending a couple of influence each. We might get lucky and all 3 will succeed on the first go, and we'll have full control over Canada. Much more likely that we'll succeed maybe a couple of times. Okay, confirm assignments. Unpause the game.
Protecting our interests.
There you go. We completed the defend interests. So now if we go and say, take me there, and take a look at Kazakhstan, we get a little bit of a shield next to each of our control points. So protected by the defend interest mission until the 8th of March, 2023. So we get 4 or 5 months out of control over there. Makes it very hard for anyone to do a crackdown or purge or anything like that. It's going to be very handy. Thank you for the reminder about it, because that had been my plan, and then it was grayed out. Okay, so now we have to select another team here, advisory team. With our management team on board, we may now recruit our core group of advisors to assist our interactions and oversight with nations aligned with our cause. So, we can focus on economic development. National investment points we direct to economy increased by 10%. Investment points towards spaceflight or booster increased. Investment points towards military or build army. And then international aid, this is a boost towards welfare or knowledge. So this is just what this is going to do is with our priorities, it's just boosting some of these categories over here and what we might want to boost up. Spaceflight boost does sound good. Ooh, whiskey and chocolate.
Happy partner anniversary.
Thank you, Slater. Much appreciated. Yeah, spaceflight and boost is pretty tempting. Just generic economic development is pretty interesting. We're not doing any of that currently, but we will certainly do some of it. Yeah, Rich Purnell is a steely-eyed missile man. Yeah, missile women and men here. There's no bad choice, and I'm going to suggest that maybe none of them are massively significant. I like outer space. I like the idea of steely-eyed missile women and men. Sure, let's pick it.
The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a golden age of advancement and prosperity for all mankind.
Reminds me of Alpha Centauri quotes, right?
I know better. Any race advanced enough to find us would be advanced enough to end us, likely without even regarding us.
This is
Commander
from
Fiona Ayawade, NATO Symposium on First Contact.
Like, it really has that Alpha Centauri vibe. And this is us. Fiona Ayawade is the leader of the resistance who we're playing as. So, Soul Jam, we actually started in Kazakhstan first to secure a launch site, but now we're going to focus on North America because that's where I am. One of our characters is from Canada, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, We Are Not Alone is finished. Unfortunately, we are not the #1 person to get there, which is a little bit disappointing and frustrating. But that's what we get for splitting our efforts. Now I'm going to go entirely into my local project here. Hopefully we still get clandestine cells unlocked pretty soon. And then the other downside is that the faction that generated the most was able to pick the next thing to do. So they're going for arrival domestic politics, which may or may not have been the thing that we were looking for the most, but sure. All right, we do have a mission, like we really want to push Skywatch next, but that is being pushed kind of on its own. It's currently predicted to end at the end of November, so you know, that's fine. We'll just do our own thing. We could do a little tickle in here. It's going to shave 5 days off of this. We could do this just to make sure it's still progressing, in case anyone else pulls out completely, but I don't think there's much reason. And yeah, first counselor is always from your home country unless you turn it off. No, I'm just going to work on my own personal stuff here. Screw the rest of the world.
The Surat al-Baqarah teaches that in the creation of heaven and earth, a wise people may find the signs of Allah. Let us heed those words and join together as we take our search into the stars.
You get tech efficiency with spreading it?
From his
you mean KH?
At the first conclave of Muslim astrophysicists.
Hey Quill, pay attention, there's a new subscriber.
So, if we put any effort into this, whatever, even if we don't come out #1, do we get some sort of benefit? You get more overall tech from splitting it. Wait, what? Really? Okay, 2.3. I mean, this still kind of looks like 2.3 to me. Maybe it's a little higher than 2.3. We'd have to do the math. It's not that efficient early on. But you're saying, so later on, by having more than one, we're actually getting slightly more bang for our buck. Plus 5% for each one. Should I do something crazy, like do this? Let's see, this is 1.4. Okay, these two together are 0.9. 1.4 is 2.3. So yeah, we're about the same regardless. Oh, easier to see in the top bar? Oh! The number changes! Look at that! 74.5 per month, 78 per month, 81 per month. Research distribution bonus. Well, that's fascinating. Now, there's still some value in, like, beelining one particular thing. Mid-late game, you're incentivized to have at least 1 pip in 6 slots. Let's do this for now. You can actually math out the needed contribution for projects if you want to have a 100% chance to unlock. Right. Because we take the 175 beakers, divide it in half, plus 1, and we know we need to make that much so you can compare the completion date and just try to stay ahead. Oh. Most things have bonuses for spreading things around rather than concentrating. For example, national priorities have a 4% bonus. Okay. Well, since I don't really feel the need to rush audience research, I think we may 100% focus clandestine cells when we get it. For now, let's do the full spread out. Sure. But still focusing more on our personal project.
Are in place.
Control point, Resistance Canada. Yes.
Our supporters are in place.
Yes.
We still lack support.
Poor Pikmin. It's okay, buddy. What's great now is actually no one can take a control point in Canada right now. Because the only way you can take the executive is if you have at least one other point, and they're all full with us. So we're the only person who can take this final control point. Okay. The aliens have rapidly become popular in Eritrea. That's concerning. That's concerning. Okay, so we're going to want one person in here doing the final take control. Then I think the rest are going to start pushing into Mexico. You can see we are using up some of our control points, but that's fine. The idea is we're going to take a bunch of control over Mexico, and then we're going to start working on taking the US. I think I might keep Canada around sort of long term, although we may have to abandon it in a short term. I don't know if I want to spoil it. Mexico, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
What's the op?
Ready to go.
Okay.
Reporting in.
Your orders?
Ready.
You know, I think
Ready
maybe
for orders.
Pikmin here, who I realize is our least successful person to take over, but you can't promote. So maybe I do just throw you in. There you go, 60% chance to get this last control point in Canada.
Bringing them to our
Well,
side.
I think we'll do that.
Ready
And then
for
I think
orders.
everyone else... Oh, we're going to want to do a defend interest, but I think we're going to want to wait until we take over things.
I will try to sway the public.
I should check to see
Standing
if
by for
maybe...
orders.
Maybe I can get an org on some of these too.
Making our case.
Where do you need me?
Yeah, public campaign Mexico, thank you very much. Do this, and then someone asked, like, is there an advantage to having more power? So yeah, first of all, more of the spoils of the country come to us the more we control, and also we will have more ability to tweak the government's policy. So here, we're going to do something very different from what was going on in Kazakhstan. Here, I think our goal is probably to get the democracy maxed out to 10. The diversity here, the cohesion is an interesting number, because the higher it gets, as it gets closer to 10, the more we have a monolithic sort of culture, a literal monoculture, right? Very unified in thought, but not diverse in any way whatsoever. Whereas if we go all the way down to the bottom and we have no cohesion, then obviously there's going to be a lot of just kind of, it's going to lead to more civil strife and things. What's interesting is it says it in here in the tooltip, democracy and knowledge priority, pull it towards the middle value of 5. 5 is sort of a sweet spot where I think it's going to give you like more research and more things like that. I think it's supposed to be kind of a sweet value in here. I think that's where we're probably going to think about Canada. Assuming we're keeping it long term. Again, we may have to abandon it a little bit at some point if we run out of control points of the US. It'd be great if we could keep both, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I think long term what we're looking for is level 10 democracy, perfect sweet spot of diversity versus cohesion. We would like to eliminate income inequality completely, because that does hurt some other things, and build up an economy and do that. We could develop the space program here because it's already partially developed in Canada. If we complete this, then it's a possibility we could build Boost. Although rather than building Boost, we might just want to start building Mission Control here so that we can do more space stuff later on. I don't know, something like that. 5 gives the best knowledge and welfare, but worse unity. Okay. And yeah, we have 2. I know we will be messing with both. But what's handy is I tend to just put in what I want in one, copy it to the other, and then if I'm looking for tweaking specific goals, then we can balance it. Note there's an exclamation mark next to the spoils over here, because the elite of the country get cranky if they're not able to suck out a bunch of resources for their own purposes. Here we want they want at least 9% investment points directed to them so that they're satisfied. If they're unsatisfied, theoretically the nation's easier to coup and overthrow and stuff like that. I don't know if I think as we reduce the income inequality, or there's some other value that makes it so that this need is reduced. So just investing in economy, every time this completes, it increases the amount of investment points we have, which is kind of nice. I think here we're going to do, I don't think we have to invest in unity specifically. I think our thing here might be something like welfare knowledge, in some sort of percentage. In fact, since the control point we don't control is heavily investing in economy, if we ignore that and just over here, and you can see it doesn't matter what I do with these numbers, because these two, like, it's not going to stat here. Like if I do this, it's just taken away from the other category, right? We're back at, well, no, I'm wrong about this. No, 30, yeah, 36, 39 is the same, no matter what I do in terms of raw dots, because I'm only controlling these dots over here. High education democracy reduce the spoil demand. Thank you very much. So, and high knowledge boost democracy, and of course boost knowledge. I think this might be one of the most valuable things for us to press here in Canada. In fact, I think I'm going to go like full knowledge. We'll invest a little bit into welfare, try to bring down the income inequality. It is currently on its way down, which is good. So we'll just do this for now, and we'll enjoy the fact that we're getting some benefits out of this, including a bunch of tech and a little bit of money, and that's helpful. But yeah, our tech rate is improving. 150 per month now is lovely. That's confirmed. We started on the 1st of October. We're now about halfway through November.
Our case remains unheard.
Okay, let's repeat.
Public sentiment is
Let's repeat that some more in Mexico. Make sure Mexico thinks we're
Public
awesome.
sentiment is increasingly with us.
The trick is not to look directly at what you are trying to see. Offset your focal point somewhere to the side of where you think you noticed the movement.
The economy boosts the IP you get, so it's
center of
feedback
your
loop.
vision doesn't work as well as during the day. I won't try to explain the science to you. What matters is you'll see whatever is out there before they see you.
So all factions...
Castillo, advising conscripts in Colombia.
This allows all factions to track alien vessels and structures that are inside the orbit of Saturn. Immediately reveals all alien vessels and habitats within our detection range.
We failed to take control.
Dude, here, try again. So, if we look at our intel screen and go to aliens, there we go. We are aware of 2 fleets. Victor 1, Victor 2. Both are transferring to low Earth orbit right now. Clandestine cells. Yes, we are going to start researching that immediately. So again, I think if we had completed that mission, the tech over here ourselves, that would have become immediately available to us. But I want to change project. I want to do this immediately. It's going to take us 2 months to research currently. We're going to put all our tech into here. We're going to beeline this, and yeah, I think that's fine. Because I want a 5th counselor. How far can we... Oh, you're right. We haven't actually seen space yet. There. Is that zoomed out enough for you? I mean, it's pretty far out here. So these are all... So we got, yeah, all these... I was gonna say exoplanets, but that has to do with, like, other, like, outside of the solar system, right? Yeah, there's a few. Oh, there's the alien ships. Victor 1, Victor 2. So Victor 1's going to intercept Earth over here and get into low Earth orbit. Victor is going to come. Victor 2 is a little later. And yeah, we can zoom in. There's the moon. And there are even 2 space stations currently. We've got the International Space Station. And these orbit around. If I unpause, these things will orbit around the Earth. So the International Space Station starts off controlled by the Academy. And we got Tiangong Station over here, which starts off controlled by the Exodus, Project Exodus. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. And then when we do go out to the moon, to start off with, for example, one of the things the moon has, it has 9 different sites that we can set up colonies on. And the other planets have that as well. In addition to that, there's all the spots for orbital stuff. Like if we go to Earth, there are 9 different orbit levels. So there's Tiangong orbit, ISS orbit, which is currently filled, but low Earth orbit, 0 of 8. So there's room for 8 habitats, orbital habitats, around the Earth in low orbit, 8 more in high orbit, and then we got medium, intermediate, synchronous, high Earth, and then extreme Earth orbit. So lots of places for various space stations, and all the other planets and things have all those as well. Why does medium Earth orbit have a skull? Oh! Yeah, because this orbit receives dangerous level of naturally occurring radiations. Any HAB modules built here will have 2 times its normal mass to account for the shielding necessary to protect fragile electronics and crew members. It's, yeah, there was to say the Van Allen belts. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I knew one of you guys would. And then some of these, this is an interface orbit, which denotes fleets and stations in this orbit have additional opportunities to interact with the surface of the planet, the space body. So these 4 orbit levels over here have some special stuff going on as well. This game is nuts. The level of detail in this game, absolutely mind-boggling. All right, listen, Pikmin. Yeah, right. You're repeating. Everyone's repeating their missions, which is fine. Mexico has our support over here. 20%. Okay, and increasing. Good. And we can take a look at, you know, Canada's stats. Tech's going up. Diversity is going down, but again, cohesion's going down. Theoretically becoming slightly more diverse and trying to hit a sweet spot. The per capita GDP is improving, and the inequality is dropping. Everything's looking real good for Canada. Oh, confirm assignments. You're welcome, Canada. I loaded it up like 2 years ago. I think we looked at it based on a VOD I can find for about an hour on stream, but we really didn't do much or understand what the game was. Because I jumped into it blind. It wasn't until the very end of the stream that I realized there was space, which is a pretty big part of this. Okay, public campaign is working. We'll just hit a continue here rather than repeat. New project available. Allows construction. Okay, we can research military science lab, which would let us build military science labs on hub modules. I don't think we need to research that immediately.
We've moved the needle.
Good.
Our case remains.
Now, the big one is, can Pikmin take control of the last point in Canada here?
We're taking over.
Yes! Okay, we have full control over Canada at this point. Good stuff. So what I can do is I can always copy this. Now we have full control of the economy. We can do this. We can spread some things around. Overall, I'm okay. I do like the big push here. Again, the economy makes sense because what it does is it boosts the investment points, so we have more investment points going on forward and forward and forward and forward. Part of me is like full stabilization first. Actually, I'm wondering about doing... I'm wondering if it might make more sense, actually, to do this. So we can force the welfare down to eliminate the inequality as hardcore as possible. Because right now, high inequality reduces cohesion. Although right now we're fine with the cohesion dropping a little bit more, but we're going to want that stabilized. I think this might be the best bet. We rename Canada to West Kazakhstan? I don't think we've got a way to do any renames, unfortunately. Oh yeah, thank you. I got to remember to level up the counselors too. So, Pikmin's an interesting question. I think we're going to assume that Pikmin long-term, assuming we keep them and don't replace them with someone else, is going to be someone who's set on permanent, a permanent advisory capacity. Over here. Which science, command, and administration boost with that. I don't know if we'll bother boosting his command necessarily, but the science and administration is good. And more administration also means you're going to be able to do more orgs. Right now we can't afford any. Yeah, boosted science or admin will be useful later. I'm wondering about just starting to put points into administration so that he's going to be useful as someone to just hold on to orgs. And again, do a useful job doing the advise. Oh, the way, unfortunately, I had laryngitis on Monday, so I had to cancel the Monday stream. So let's just, you know, we'll just put some in administration for now, which technically will also boost this. So does persuasion, and so does command, which lets us control more nations, which is good. Here, I mean, I don't like that you don't have any administration. Maybe we'll get you up to, like, let's say, I don't know, solid 10, 12 raw persuasion. And then we're probably going to want to put some in admin because we're going to want to attach some orgs to you because it kind of snowballs, which is kind of nice. But let's focus on the persuasion. You got control nation and public campaign, which is awesome. Well, you've got quite a few level ups. You're full on your admin capacity right now. You know what? I think it'll be the same thing. Let's just get some people with some pretty hardcore persuasion. I think it's going to make a big difference to accelerating our playthrough. Now, Mr. Natrum here is a little bit different. He has a pretty decent persuasion, but I really think he's going to be an org holder. National hero... Streetwise, it's all home nation stuff, which I don't know is super useful. Command, he actually doesn't have any actions that he can do that uses his command. Other than if he does advise stuff. Maybe short term, just giving him more persuasion is useful. Nothing else. Persuasion still boosts our control point cap as well. And I think he's going to be holding on to a lot of orgs, but right now he's got tons. Who's going to be the purge or crackdown specialist? I mean, he's got both skills, but he's really not good at it. So that might be who our fifth person is. Although we also need someone with high command. I think we are going to end up having to fire someone to make room for a dedicated crackdown purge person and a dedicated military person. But that'll maybe wait until later. For now, let's just throw you in persuasion, because again, our goal here is to work to take over the United States. Okay. Oh yes, we need to do a defend mission as well, which you can do. So now we're going to defend interest in Canada for sure.
Making things
so we'll get our little shields. That's going to be great. And then in Mexico,
I'm here.
How are we looking on a control nation over here? Up to 70%. Great. And again, I'll do the thing where I dump maybe a couple of influence points into
We'll bring this nation
the
to
Fang,
our
same
side.
thing.
Ready to go.
Good.
Establishing our
and
presence.
Pikmin, yeah, you're nowhere near as good at it. Well, let's give it a go anyway, for now. I could also put Pikmin immediately on advise over in Canada.
securing our interests.
I think Pikmin's advise role is going to be really valuable once you take the US, because boosting that is going to be good. Okay. Good. New project, Xenology Lab. So I think, again, this is right. Yeah, it's another HAB module. So it's not anything we're interested in pursuing quite yet. What's capping how many countries you control? So it's this value over here, these control points, right? Which currently have a limit of 178. Each one of these control points we take has a cost. It's based on basically mostly the size of the economy of the nation. So the United States, first of all, has 6 control points, and each one is insanely expensive. I think each one was like 34 points or something like that. So it's actually, like, the United States by itself is going to take all of our capacity. But it's going to be worth it. We may have to abandon control over Mexico and Canada for a short amount of time and retake it later. We'll see. Okay, we've got a control point in Mexico. Let's just continue for now.
We're taking over.
And another one. Lovely. And Pikmin, you fail, but, you know, we know it's a lot harder for you there, Pikmin. It's okay. So we have half the control points in Mexico, so we can start doing some things over here. Part of me is wondering, if maybe we just strip mine Mexico for resources. And go spoils. Which is just going to give us a bunch of cash. Completing spoils gains $32 directly to the owner of each control point. Increases inequality, decreases democracy, decreases stability. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we can bring Mexico into the Great American system later on. Like we can form a North American Union, and so there's some value in having it not be trash. But I think this might not be a bad call right now to do that. We're not going to have the control to keep control over Mexico when we get the United States. I'm not even sure about Canada, and honestly, I'm even worried about Kazakhstan with the United States. But so we're gonna have to at least abandon one country, if not 2, if not 3. So we're not going to be keeping control of Mexico for very long. So I think for now it's okay for us to just strip it bare. Downside of the Canadian space program, Canada's so far north. Yeah, which I think makes it bad for boost. Does it hurt its ability for control? Like the space control stuff? Undefended control point in Italy. Oh, who's taking over Italy? We can take a look over here. France is being hardcore controlled by the Initiative and a little bit the Servants. Italy is... Oh, it's a cracked down point from the Servants. That's interesting. We can flip this to see... faction control. There you go. So we get some color coding for the faction controls. Not the most obvious and clear. So it looks like no one's controlling anything over here. Of course, we've got Kazakhstan there. There you go. A little bit... The initiative's been busy. Oh, yeah, and then Brazil. Brazil had a big fight. It's being split equally between the Protectorate and the Servants, both who are pro-alien, which doesn't please me greatly. I love that Humanity First is right next to them. That's going to lead to some interesting conflict. Does stripping a nation bare have implications since the Resistance want to build an alliance of all nations? You know what? We can worry about that later. I'm sure it's fine. All right, confirm assignments. So,
standing by for orders.
We're going to keep going with planned control of the nation. And I think I'm going to throw everyone at it.
I'm here.
Ready.
Your orders.
So we only have 2 more to control. We're going to throw 4 people in here. Basically, guarantee it finishes.
Taking control.
When Come to Visit Brazil becomes a faction that wants the aliens to visit. Yeah, we're going to start PR in the United States pretty soon. UFOs crashed in Libya. Okay, we're going to send an agent out there. Let me add to my note.
Our presence is growing.
In Libya. Boom, done. Okay. Wait, I'm sorry. I sent someone to Afghanistan? Whoops. Okay.
We got our people in place.
I guess we're going to extract some more spoils. Yeah! All right, good.
We've got our people in place.
Theoretical success, good. And then I was going to say Rob doesn't have anything to do.
Go.
Hello, Afghanistan. Oh, that's Iran. There we are. A little further. Single control point, which we have complete control over. I don't know why everyone kept talking about this great game that is, you know, the problem with controlling Afghanistan. It actually seemed really easy to me, you guys. I can resets it. There we go. Let's leave the spoils over here completely. I don't know. We can just do a little bit of military in here to just smack down on some unrest. Mostly just extract some spoils for a little bit. I mean, they're not particularly rich, but that's fine. All right. Unrest was high in Afghanistan. Huh. You don't say. That's a shocking thing to hear about. All right. So yeah, full control. We're going to do the same thing. Rather than unity, let's do... Oh yeah, you actually have a fair amount of unrest over here. Let's do a little bit of military spending, but mostly in spoils. The military is just going to try to crack down on some of the unrest while we, again, try to extract value out of Mexico as much as possible. Now, we have some influence and we have some money. We should take another look at orgs. So Pikmin could do kinetic pressure control limited. Or you know what? Maybe I'll wait until the 15th because we'll get another group of orgs spawn. Now, I think these orgs are kind of first come, first serve. How good is this one? Grants the advise mission, a little bit of monthly income for, I think these are project research.
It's whiskey and chocolate.
A little bit more science stat, material science purchase.
What I learned about XCOM and now this game. If the alien would stop crashing their UFOs, humanity wouldn't stand a chance.
I'm here.
I know, right? Apparently they're really bad at driving. All right, we're going to start a public campaigns in the United States.
Acknowledged.
At your service.
What's the op?
And unfortunately, Pikmin can't do public campaigns. Oh, he can go and investigate the crashed alien. Perfect.
On the way to the target site.
Excellent. Do that. Only Quill could accidentally take control of Afghanistan. See, that's the problem. Everyone has been trying to take control, and the trick is to do it by accident. So right now, our support is only 5%. The Academy has really been pitching their case over here. So we're going to go repeat and continue.
Our cause is unjustified to them.
We've moved the needle.
Oh, critical success. Ooh, nice. Oh, wow. We're at 23% already. All right. Crash site has been investigated. That's lovely. Now, let's take a look. If Pikmin wanted to do a control of the United States, we'd be at 1%. 1. So, the big thing is its size of its economy. Also, control points in rivals? Do you have a rivalry with Afghanistan? Relations. I think, Sudan. Oh, Afghanistan. Yep. Well, it's not hurting us much, but honestly, that's going to be a problem. You know what? What we're going to do is we're just going to go, we'll keep strip mining Afghanistan for another week or two while we build public relations. And then what we'll do is we'll abandon that. I wonder, so if you abandon a country, you don't actually lose the control point. It goes into a crackdown status and you no longer pay to maintain it. But we'd still have the control point for this purpose. I don't know. Well, anyway, meanwhile, let's just go and advise Canada.
Offering support.
Pick 2 Caribbean nations that border the USA, just not Cuba. I guess that's another way to get more adjacency. Eurasian Alliance is a rival.
Lending my expertise.
Okay. You know what? Let's just keep... So, the advised mission, boosting research output, investment points, and defense forces, but he doesn't have command, so it's not boosting. He's got a 0 command, so it's not improving this. But research and investment points, cool. I'm just going to stick you here as a permanent assignment for a little while, so you don't have to bug me. Well, the triangles, they're easy ways to collect nations that might be too hard to click otherwise.
The people will come to our side.
So Georgetown, the Georgetown region of the United Kingdom is over there, so they give you the triangle. That's just easier to click. Here's France has got some islands over here. Look at some other examples. Repeat and continue. The Netherlands, United States, Belize. But there's other examples that are individual countries. There you go, Cabo Verde over here. That's all it is. Just these islands are small and pain to click, so they're like, let's put these handy triangles.
Sway in their minds.
88% chance you rolled a 91. Quarters for the Habs. Okay, we don't need to change anything.
People will come to our side.
30%. We're going to need to keep pushing that support real high up. How are we doing in, how are we doing in Kazakhstan? We haven't looked at you for a little while here, right? So, we still have control. We've got it locked down. We're pushing a lot of unity over here because, there we go, look at this. We're at 87%. This is what we were pushing the unity for. And we're doing a little bit of military just to bring down this stuff, which is okay. I think, okay, we still have to do the military spending because we want to keep pushing down the unrest. I think this also hurts the government, right? No, increases Miltech. What made the government more authoritarian? Oh, right, unity. We could work on these two. So we were working on unity because I want to get this. I think I will keep spending on unity. Do we just start investing in boost because that's the idea that we want to do this? Like, we're already getting boost out of this country. We could just get more. I don't think I'm going to spoils here. Now, 32%, yeah. It would be nice to not have that. I really don't want to strip mine this. Maybe, here's a crazy idea. What if, instead of working on boost right now, what if we just work to improve the economy so that we'll have more points to invest in later on? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think... Here's the thing. I don't think we need Kazakhstan forever. Right? We want it for early game boost. What if we do this? I think I kind of like this idea. Start building its boost so we get more and more value of it. Again, I know a lot of it is leaving, but in 113 days, we'll be able to leave the Eurasian Union and we'll get all the value. Here, I'll put a little bit into economy. 20, 20, 60. Good, good. Let's call that good. Okay. Imagine a strange alternate reality, if you would, which obviously has nothing to do with any events going on Earth whatsoever. We only talk about funny politics here, not real politics, because Twitch chat is not a good place for that. In this weird alternate universe, Israel, under the control of humanity first, has declared war on Palestine, and Iran, defending alliance, will be led by Iran. The war will only end when the leading nations on each side, with the greatest military strength, agree to make peace, and one side has captured all the capitals of the enemy, and da-da-da-da-da. It's fine. Luckily, none of those countries have nukes. I'm sorry, wait, what? Hold on. They maybe do? Oh. Well, that's going to be awkward. Jeebus! Okay! Oh man, things are about to get real spicy. Yeah, escapism, exactly. Wow. Wow. Alright, United States has an open control point, good to boost income, it's targeted. Yeah, I know, I would love to do that. So we're gonna do at least one more round of Resist the Aliens, because I think we want that. Or of boosting our popularity. Because it will make it easier to grab some more things over here. So I think that's still the idea. So... And if I'm going to keep Canada, what I want to do is burn its income inequality down into the ground, if at all possible. And yeah, boosting the knowledge is going to help keep us to full democracy level as well. And again, bring our diversity to a sweet spot. So I think I'm still happy with Canada's distribution for now. Although I could, if for a long-term investment, I could consider spending some into the economy as well.
Moving in our direction.
Okay. I'll just hit continue because we might start doing some takeovers now.
We'll moving in our direction.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Aliens won't have Earth if we nuke ourselves first. That's what humanity first means. Nuke humanity first. Okay, we've completed clandestine projects. That's huge. We get an extra counselor, and it does increase our control point management by a step, which is great. Let's go and finish audience research, because it's pretty close, but I'm no longer feeling the need to quickly do it. I'm going to go ahead and do the thing where we put a point in everything to get a little bit more bang for a buck, because this is going to continue to improve humanity's choices as well, like improving our technology, because it's not just about improving our position, it's maybe arguably improving most of the faction positions. Not all of them are actively helping us, but we'll go ahead and do that, and then yeah, work on a little bit of audience research. That's okay. I don't know if I took another look at the orgs when things unlocked. We've got Door Inc. Grant's mission, hostile takeover, stabilize nation. Hostile takeover lets us take over orgs. I can't remember, hold on. I think Natrium already had that, and he does. That being said, it might still be a good pick for him. Or no, actually, I think it's a great pick for Rob, and here's why. It boosts administration and science, which are two things we're going to want on Rob, because both administration and science work well when you're doing advised missions, with Rob is spending some amount of time doing. Yeah, I think that's quite good. They'll give us an overall research boost and give us an income boost. I think Door Inc. goes to Rob, or Pikmin Mega Man. Domestic politics research does not give a bonus right now. Oh. Huh? Kinetic pressure. Research, science. No, I think this is a great pick. And the interesting thing about it is any org that gives you admin basically pays for itself. Because this is going to consume 2 of our admin, but it's going to give us 3. So we'll actually end up with a net 1 extra space. Admin is the godsad. Is certainly the vibe I was getting. It's going to cost me $623. Well, luckily, we've been strip mining Mexico, so we have a lot of money to spare right now. Doesn't that make you feel good? Only different fields give 5% bonus in research. So I'm not entirely sure what is being meant, like, by these percentage numbers and how that works or doesn't work. Domestic politics research does not give a bonus right now. Only different fields give 5% bonus. Yeah, I don't understand. Hover over the beakers at the top of your screen. Okay. Research represents the effort. Okay. No. Unlike other resources not accumulated but immediately distributed according to research priorities divided between global investigations, yada yada, we are receiving the following bonuses to these research categories. Information sciences 15%, Xenology 2. So the social science research isn't showing up in this beaker. Is that what you mean? So the stat on this about the social science currently doesn't help. Is that what you're saying? Now, arguably it looks like it might still be worth it. Oh, it only implies next mission phase. Oh, so we'll look again in the next mission phase. I think I might pick up the kinetic pressure for him as well. He's turned to activate it. Okay, we'll look again. So, was I misunderstanding? You weren't saying that it's not working at all, period. You're just saying it's not working in the immediate moment. Maybe that's it. I'm going to throw in a little bit of again, there's no reason they all have to be balanced. Right? I can do radically different things in each place, but it just kind of looks nice doing this way. So yeah, we'll throw in a little bit of economic development at the same time. I will go ahead and do that for kind of long-term investment.
Just imagine, Ifechi, how this world would change if we could mass manufacture building materials in an instant. Homes built for mere pennies. Irrigation for every village.
There, we get the extra stats now.
A brighter, fairer future for all. Commissioner Kiran Banerjee, private correspondence.
Oh, you're not going to introduce yourself? All right. So Humanity First finished was the primary contributor to advanced carbon manipulation.
Of course, there was an accident.
Oh,
frankly,
we also got deep space
propulsion
concepts.
Just get the recovery crew in there to salvage the gear ASAP. Worry about the bodies later. The delays are costing us. Chairman Soren van Beek, internal memo.
It's so Morgan Industries, isn't it? Okay. Deep Space Skywatch. This is going to be a big one. Huge political implications of this finishing. In fact, since it's in the list, I'm going to go and push the heck out of this. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Oh, yeah, and as someone pointed out, if you've got a boost, you'll see it. So you can see here. Oh, and we can do 2 projects at once now. You can see here we're getting a 4% boost to each one of these because it's all It's all social science. If we were researching some engineering, then we'd be getting or information scientists, we'd be getting a 15% boost to those things. And I mean, we could take a look at what's there. So again, most of these blue ones are the repeatable ones. These are like space habitat things, which we don't currently need. So we may as well just leave things more or less unchanged. Maybe I'll put a point back into audience research because we get a little bit more efficiency. But yeah, I'm going to push this hard. About 6 per day. So we need, I don't know how much this is. 80 days, somewhere around there to finish. That would bring it a little bit more than that, because that would be 480 beakers. Oh, but again, it's not about finishing. We just want to be above the 50%. I don't know. It is past 4. God, I knew this would happen in this game. Okay, before we finish, which is going to happen soon. 12% chance to grab a control node, and this is with our good people.
Ready for orders.
16% chance. So we're going to have to do more persuasion, more public campaign. At least there's a very high chance of that succeeding, which is great.
What's the op?
Ready.
Yeah, we've got great odds of getting more public support over here. That's good. And then before I do it, you know what? Before I forget, I keep clicking on the wrong place. There we go. Just got to go one further over to the right. I'm going to abandon the nation here. So we went from 131 to 124 for control. So we're no longer paying for the control. Technically, this node is still ours, but it's considered crackdown. We're not paying any maintenance for it. I'm not sure if we're still getting the spoils. I think we still get the knowledge and the funding. I don't know if you get the spoils when you've done this. You do? Cool. Oh yeah, and level up the counselors again. Yeah, maybe. Out of curiosity, if I went to grab CC over here and said, I want to control the nation instead. Okay, it still has control points and rivals. I'm worried that it's still there. Can we abandon the control point, like, completely? I know we're not paying support for it, but can we pull out from here? To remove that penalty? Maybe it's opening up the possibility someone will take over. Oh yeah, it's also the Eurasian Union. Maybe that's part of the issue that we can't deal with. Oh, thank you for the reminder. We did just unlock the ability to get a 5th agent. So we're going to want to take a look at that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll wrap it up here. And next episode, we'll pick an agent. Again, it would be great to have someone with high command, because we don't have that. The best in the list, we've got an astronaut over here. Sabotage. At some point, we do need someone with the assault enemy space asset. That's a for sure. We've got, hold on. This is an operative. Look at how much shit she can do, and how many of them are zeros. These are things we can't currently do, and she can. It's only a 5 command and a 6 espionage. But we could boost these. She's 55. She's not going to be alive for a long time. She's an enemy of the state. So we can't send her, we can't have her do missions in China. Which is kind of funny. Yeah, you know what? I think we hire her. And she's potentially going to get a lot of command and espionage or something. She gives ops income? She does. Not much, but at this point, anything is good. So she's aware. So +1 investigation, detecting other counselors, survivor, low profile. She's harder to spot. Hard target, even harder to spot, and a bunch of security rating. Yeah, her security stat is crazy. I don't know if there's any missions that use, like, there's no category of visible here with security, but yeah, she's just really well defended. Crew, she's got bodyguards, which is why she's getting monthly income and more security. And then Streetwise is great when she's operating in her home nation, except she can't operate in her home nation. So the Streetwise is kind of pointless. We might be able to buy off the enemy estate with XP. It might be possible to eliminate that. Yeah, security is the defense of the operative. You know what? Let's just assume. Let's just pick up Shanshan right now. Unfortunate that she's 55. She won't live forever. And let's name them immediately before we end the stream. This is Rhyme Pendragon. Codenamed Rhyme Pendragon. Lock that in. Okay. Marco's complete.
Your orders?
And then, look how many things she's got on the bottom here. So many things she can do. Oh, yeah. See, our initial counselors are kind of, yeah. I think sometimes you can spend XP to give them access to a new mission. No one's got a lot of XP. I think I remember seeing somewhere sometimes that, but I might be wrong. Anyway, let's leave the XP spending for next time. Although, I say that, you know what? I kind of have no doubt in my mind that, again, administration maybe she can have more orgs, but also just some persuasion over here. I kind of feel, again, I'm going to get a persuasion up to maybe like a natural 12-ish, just because it's about halfway to the cap. She's got something giving her +1 right now, so she'd actually end up at a 13. And then after that, we probably, for most of our counselors, we're going to want to keep pointing points in the administration so that they can have more orgs, which makes them more powerful. And it also will increase our control cap, which is nice. And yes, the government and criminal trait I do know about. Some of these orgs require the person with it. So for example, if we want to control the 7th U.S. Special Forces Group, then we need to have a counselor that's got the government trait, and we have to have a control point in America. So I don't know if we have any with those traits right now. We might not have any. Holy shit, yeah. I don't know if that's something you can add to someone. Oh yeah, gain trait, government. We had 100 influence, we could give her the government trait. Okay, we might pause on some XP spend. Well, I want to take control of the United States first. You know what? I'm just going to lock in. I'm going to give her a persuasion point. Done. Done. We might wait on Natrum. It's interesting. The people you recruit do come in with some XP. So yeah, we could remove the enemy of the state. I don't think we need to do that now because we actually aren't planning on operating in China yet, but we'll be able to remove that later. Affluent doesn't matter. We're going to be looking at these stats, but I'll probably wait until we figure out what mission we're sending Rhyme on, and that'll have to wait until next time. So currently, Saturday I'm going to RimWorld. But maybe Monday, Wednesday becomes Terra Invicta? Something like that. We're going to play it by ear. I do want to RimWorld on Saturday because we've got an active campaign and I definitely don't want it to be avoided. And World War Wednesdays is kind of good, but I think we're going to want to go a little faster than 2 hours a week on this. So I'm wondering about Monday, Wednesday Terra, Saturday RimWorld for the immediate future. We'll see. For now, we're going to go ready Kiss for Luck. Give her some love. What is she playing today? I am quite curious, actually. Because I know there's a few things. Oh, she is Elder Scrollsing again. Looks like she's running some dungeons. I know she's got some specific goals she wants to do. So if you're interested in some MMO-ish, we'll do that. Otherwise, Saturday, RimWorld. Thanks, everyone.